Okay, what's going on here? Uh, okay. Well, that is also strange. Okay, interesting. Huh. Anyway, better make sure all your ducks in a row. You got a big stream tomorrow. Yeah. The biggest failure of a stream that's ever gonna happen ever in the world. Oh yeah, it's gonna be all sorts of glorious of nothing happening. That's essentially what's gonna happen. Just a whole lot of nothing. But uh, you know, but I got new thumbnails and I'm gonna work on the stream stuff tonight. So I'm gonna plan all that out. Uh, get the thumbnails all in place. Actually, let's take a look at uh my tomorrow this is happening video. I still have 10 views. Nope, 12 views. God. Oh, it's gonna be a shit show. But we'll see. I mean, I am also doing YouTube shorts, so maybe it'll get out that way. Um, yeah. Thumbnails look great. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Lots of AI. uh it's actually weird, kind of one of those things where I was trying to fix a different problem and it ended up being cooler. And I'm like, how? I don't know why you did that for some reason suddenly, but I want you to do this, and make it wider, and it did it. So I'm like, all right, cool, cool. All right, so what are we stepping in today, ladies and gentlemen? Obviously, we're gonna be talking about a little bit of what happened yesterday with the State of the Union. We're actually only going to touch on it a little bit. Uh, other, we are going to do a reaction to one video that basically is the cherry on top of what happened last night. I think that you all know what we're talking about. And in regards to, let's see, let me look here. There have been allegations. Well, no longer allegations, let's just say. If you don't know who Brandon Herrera is, he is going against Tony Gonzalez, who beat him as in a district in Texas 2 years ago. And a scandal, a rumor, has become a scandal, and it has been clarified to the point where someone lost their life. So we're going to be taking a look into that. We're going to be looking at the Dr. Oz and JD Vance announcements today, their crackdown on fraud. We might be looking into a little bit of kind of what's going on with Remedy Studios. I know I'm going to talk about games. Who would have thought? But no, it's basically going to just be a reaction thing because Remedy Studios, I loved them back in the day. Like in regards to Max Payne, like that was my big game with them. Like I really enjoyed that series. I think I only played one and two, but I remember playing it over and over and over and over again. When the remakes come out, I'm definitely going to be jumping into those. And I haven't beaten Control, but I played, I want to say 6 hours, 5 or 6 hours of it, and I really did enjoy it. But you know how life is. It just keeps on getting busy and getting busier and getting busier, and then you're an adult or more of an adult. So, I don't think he's going to be chasing that Congress chair anymore, dude. Like it's bad. It's pretty bad. Also, we're going to be hitting up a video by Brett Cooper. And some very interesting things that are happening to women over there in New York. But we're not going to start out with that. We're not going to start out with that. We like to start here with some funnies. And you know what? We're going to just go over here. There we go. And I found this little ditty. And I just want to see what you guys felt about it. Other wife versus Filipino wife. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, we are off to a really good start here. That's all I'm saying. A great start. Okay. You promise? Okay. Oh, no audio. Jesus frickin' every goddamn this is what happens when I set up my streams this way. It's all your fault, dude. It's all your fault. Let's see what's going on here. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Boom. Okay. That should do it.
Hates Trump. Hates condoms. Short purple hair.
Hey, it's kind of great start. I mean, I'd rather be safe than sorry, but great start. I'm just saying.
Long black hair. Know it all. Swallows it all.
Now you guys see what I mean. I mean, she said all of it. I do have some technical questions, though, but I will take her at her word. That is. That's all I'm saying.
Drinks $8 lattes. Drinks beer.
Yes,
Feminine.
yes. Save some money, guys.
Feminine.
Very nice.
Shows you her other personality.
Isn't that a thing here in the West? That there's just always a switcheroo with women nowadays. It's like, is she actually who she presents herself to be? And you get to know someone a little bit. Yeah, you slowly like learn about someone through time and stuff. And you're not always going to see their best sides, but I have seen a trend in the last, I don't know, 20 years or so that all of them seem to have a side. I don't know what it is. Like you got Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde there. You know what? And what is the equivalent to Mr. We're just gonna call it Mr. Hyde. That's what we're gonna do.
Shows you a good arch.
I need to move. That's all I'm saying.
Social media activist. Social media detective.
That could go badly in more ways than one, but okay.
BLM. LBFM.
What the hell is LBFM meaning? Okay. Okay, I wasn't expecting that. You know what? We'll do this real quick. I'm just gonna show you. Okay. Oh, hey, some random white guy. I'm just saying I understand her argument, okay? That's all I'm saying. Oh my god, it's super hot in here, guys. Sorry. It's coming off. It's coming off. Yeah. So much better. So much better. Hold on. Make sure it's not facing the. All right. Hopefully, you guys don't hear the fan. Hopefully. Okay. Now, I mean, I see what you're saying. That you were in the regular army. There are a lot of them, and they aren't like this. And I believe you. I've heard some bitches stealing shit. All right, going all crazy. And what's her name? That one rap lady who's kind of weirdly based now. I don't know. That, but I'm just saying, it's hard to ignore. Literally, it's a good argument.
Runs on outreach. Runs on rice.
Rice is cheap, guys. Rice is cheap. I don't know. I'm more of a Thailand kind of guy, Japanese. But you know what? Yeah, Filipina may be right up my alley. Okay, and let's see here. We're gonna go back here. So yeah, I mean, I definitely. I mean, I have looked into it. I'm like, hey, if I ever had the money, what exactly would I do? And I did kind of shop around. Shop around. I don't have the money. Didn't even have the money back then. I was like, what's kind of the best bang for your buck? And as far as I could tell, kind of Thailand's my choice. A lot easier to get in. A lot easier to have long stay visas. Like, obviously, like Japan would be great, but one, way more expensive. Like, seriously more expensive. I mean, you could still get an amazing apartment in Bangkok, like its capital and biggest city, for $600 a month for like a 2-bedroom. Thank you for the follow, Africa Dancers. Not what I was expecting today, but okay. But yes, I actually did. Wait, hold on. Oh, there we go. Our record was 7, but bro. What do you mean your record was 7? What? Oh, you're talking about what you said before. Okay. Oh, God. Why? Why are you trying to end my stream, dude? Man. No, but continuing my thing. Like, I did a ton of research. I mean, the Philippines, Thailand, Japan, and I really didn't know a lot about Thailand at the time, but it just kind of came up, and I was like, huh, this is actually a little refreshing. I mean, it still has its, woes and worries you still have to worry about, but overall, kind of the best of both worlds in a sense. It's cheap. It still, has the crime situation there. But, as long as you know how to navigate the area, you're kind of good to go. So now, one is actually something more of a PSA for other content creators, especially if you're hiding your identity online. Used to be able to do that. Thanks, Alyssa Mercante Orbiters. You've been fantastic. So we're going to go right here. So apparently, Amazon is making a change to wish lists that may make your address visible to gift buyers starting on March 25th, 2026. They recommend you get a P.O. box to protect yourself from accidentally being doxxed. Now, here's what they say. Hello, blank. You're receiving this notice because you have one or more Amazon lists that are shared with others and have a delivery address set up. We're writing to inform you about an upcoming change to Amazon lists. Starting March 25th, 2026, we will remove the option to restrict purchases from third party sellers for list items. When this change takes effect, gift purchasers will be able to purchase items sold by third party sellers from your lists, and your delivery address will be shared with the seller for fulfillment. This change will provide gift purchasers with access to a wider selection of items when shopping from your list. Wow. Hey, I don't. Okay, so I really don't understand what this change does or why they're doing it. The change will provide gift purchasers with access to a wider selection of items when shopping for. They already listed the items. It's already in the list. Why do you need a wider selection for something that is already there? Amazon, are you retarded? I I can't. And then they go, important note. When gifts are purchased from your shared or public lists, Amazon needs to provide your shipping address to sellers and delivery partners to fulfill these orders. During the delivery process, your address may become visible to gift purchasers through delivery updates and tracking information. To help protect your privacy, we recommend using a P.O. box or non-residential address for any list you share with public audiences. Yes, I completely agree, Proctofile. Yeah, they're going full retard here. Abso-fucking-lutely. So I'm even gonna go outside regular content creation. Can you imagine how many OF models get shit sent to them? How many creeps would just suddenly know their address? Just know their address full on, and because Amazon wanted to make this dumb change, I'm guessing they're saving money somewhere. That's my best guess. They have to be saving money somewhere. But they're like, you know what? We're going to be saving money, but for all these content creators and, that that we sell stuff to, and they use their little simps and other things. There might be a risk here, so you might need a PO box. God, there are so many content creators. See you later, King. There are so many content creators that are smaller and can't afford a PO box. So it just kind of baffles me here why they would make this change. It seems very nonsensical. I wonder if some sort of law changed somewhere, or if this. Hold on. I wonder if this exists in a specific country. That's actually what I'm interested in. I'm wondering if this is something like to the United States, because this could easily. Well, no, this is in English. So definitely United States, Canada, England. Yeah, for the most part, like, just off the top of my head, man, I know a lot of places speak English, but if you're going to be sending this email out, more likely it's going to be one of those countries. So just a forewarning to content creators just everywhere, especially if you're anonymous. You should probably get a PO box or write an angry letter to Amazon. Okay. And okay. Here's where we get to some of the serious stuff here. So, Gavin Newsom's California is in a little bit of hot water right now. Eric Daughtry coming in on X. It's official. Gavin Newsom is facing calls to resign his office because his elderly parole program is about to dump a convicted child abuser into the community. Sacramento Sheriff, how is it okay to let him out? So, And apparently we're going to hear from the sheriff here, and I believe from the detective as well. Oh, someone waited the 6 minutes. I live from Africa. Come show me some love. It would make my day. Just spam W in my chat. No, I'm not going to do that, Africa dancers. Oh my, I'm sorry, guys. This is mono for some reason. I'll turn it up. So we got Gavin Newsom's elderly release program, releasing child predators. Africa dancers, I'm not going to fucking do that or I'm going to block you. That's not how this works. If you're from Africa, I don't give a shit. Figure it out. You're not a friend of mine. Not how this works. And if you keep bothering about it, I will block you. If your content is good, then you'll get viewers. Then you'll get followers. You'll get all the whole shebang. Do not fucking bother my stream for a tit for tat. Do you understand me? Good. Sorry about that. Anyway, as I was saying, so this elderly program, now look, I definitely get it. All right, you're getting banned. All right, congratulations, sir. I told you I'd ban you. Ban you. You're getting what you fucking deserve, dude. Oh, god damn it. Oh, there you are. Banned. Bye. Hope it was worth it. Anyway, sorry about that. Oh, God, that was annoying. They didn't think for a second that they should probably go, maybe. Because, look, I do understand an elderly program. I honestly do. To a certain extent. Low-level offenses, maybe it was marijuana or some shit like that. Robbed a liquor store 20 years ago. Like, stuff like that. I have not looked into this law whatsoever, this new procedure, I would say. But you would think the bare minimum of an elderly release program would be, hey, probably should keep the PDFs in prison. Maybe a little bit of a fail-safe, Mr. Newsom. How about that? So stupid. So stupid. Are you guys not hearing this? Oh my god. Is this still not? What the fuck? Oh, that's why. Oh god. Fucking. Just because I didn't click a goddamn button? Is that it? Why? Hold on, guys. Hold on. I'm sorry. This is what happens when I set it up this way. This is exactly what happens. All right. There we go.
Of children. And one thing about these kids, they were resilient. They did an amazing job IDing him. And back then, as a parent or anyone around kids, hey, don't take candy from strangers. Don't follow anyone. Don't get in someone's car. This is what he did. Lured them with candy, Barbie dolls, toys, and abused these kids.
Literally the guy in the white van. He is the frickin' meme. And we just released them out into the public, or it's about to happen. I am not quite sure. I have not followed up. This is something I actually saw yesterday. Blows my frickin' mind. How can this governor be this incompetent for years and continues to be reelected? They even tried to kick him out last time, a few years ago. What's his name? Larry, I forget his name. Black, like really based black dude. But he tried to take over as governor. The stock market guy. What's his name? Something Kevin. He's friends with Graham Stephan, I think. But yeah, they were trying to kick this guy out. And once again, they're like, no. You know, Gavin Newsom should stay. Pass the SAVE Act. All right? That's all I'm saying. Pass the SAVE Act, because I have a feeling. I have a genuine feeling that California's demographics would change very quickly if illegal immigrants weren't allowed to vote. Dude, I don't even know if it's nepotism, man. It's just, I don't know what's wrong with California. Like here in Oregon, yeah, we have our fucking woke issues, especially when it's called Portland. But it's definitely here in Corvallis. It's down in Eugene. Essentially, wherever like a decent sized college is, you're gonna run into this shit. Dude, it's even gone down to like Coos Bay, Oregon. Like a small, like 50,000 person town. If even that. It's fucking insane. The brainwashing, it needs to stop. Stop relying on policies that don't work, that have been tried before, because you run into morons like this who have suicidal empathy to the fact that you release PDF files into your communities. Stop it. Michael Jordan, stop it.
Horrifically. He was given 3 consecutive terms, 20-year terms. He should have been in prison the rest of his life.
60 years on 3 counts, 2020. How does this happen? How does this happen? I know I already said it, but I don't know if I have any more words. I honestly don't know if I do.
Unfortunately, in 2020, a bill was passed that made folks eligible for parole as early
2020.
as 50 years of age once they serve 20 years. So he qualifies. He's 64 years old. I'm 62.
Damn, this guy's looking great for 62.
Is dead wrong. These children, he ruined their lives. And now he's eligible. And the damage he's done, he stole their childhoods. And my issue is the parole board. I read the reports. They're horrific. You've seen some of the things he did. There's no explanation. You can't explain it away. There are some folks that deserve a second chance in life. Someone that does these type of things, they don't deserve a second chance in life.
And that's what I said before. There are times, and I do understand that crowded prisons are a thing. All right? I really do understand that. That, you know, you can see a guy 55 years old, or 50 or 60, whatever the number they said. I understand it. Like, they got into fisticuffs at a bar, and they ended up, you know, injuring the guy more so than he should have. You know, goes to prison. He gets a 30-year sentence, and it's like, okay, you know what? maybe 20. Like I'm even trying to be like little bit liberal here, right? Because I'm actually like trying to expand the bubble because there is a line. Almost anyone is better than a PDF file. How? You couldn't put a clause in there or something like that? Look, if there was evidence that came out to be like, he wasn't the guy all along, he was framed, that's a whole different thing. But this is not that. This is 100% convicted of being a PDF file, 3 counts of it, over 1,000 pages of in their reports in California, and they're releasing him. What the hell?
What are we coming to as a society here in California? That it's okay with this, to let him out. You think about some of the offenders that do the child abuse cases, child molest cases. Typically, they're older males. Now we're seeing a lot of folks in their 20s and 30s. So under the law, and we have folks in their 20s that have pending cases right now, they can be up by the time they're 50, having done 20 years. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Someone has to speak up about it, and we've got to change this.
Yeah, you couldn't make exceptions. Nope. Everyone gets a shot if you turn 50, if you turn 55. You can retire from prison. Fucking stupid. Yeah, Freddy Krueger fucking motherfuckers. But we're actually, you know what? I think I'm going to speed it up a little bit. I think I'm going to, there's something I saw earlier today. So we can basically guarantee that we can keep them alive, but make sure that there is ultimate suffering. If anything, especially if anything like this happens, we will get there.
So he lured these kids, kidnapped the kids, kidnapped 2 sisters. He was convicted of 16 counts of kidnapping, child molestation, with multiple young children. Remember, the youngest victim 3 years of age. Sentenced over 20 years in prison, as well as 3 additional consecutive sentences. Consecutive, not concurrent, as if they follow each other. A judge in Sacramento described him, and I'll say this, as the monster parents fear most. Yet today, the parole board decided he is suitable for release.
You know what? I'm curious. I'm fucking curious. Give me 1 second, guys. All right. I'm cool enough, and that's bothering me. California. All right, hold on. California Parole Board. Commissioner? 21 full-time commissioners who are appointed by the governor. You've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. Who are appointed by the governor and subject to confirmation by the California Senate. California does not stand a chance. I'm sorry. It's done. It's done. Let it rot. Let it die with Hollywood. That's honestly, I just want this to happen. Commissioners are appointed to staggered 3-year terms. The commissioners conduct parole suitability hearings and associated parole reconsideration and rescission hearings for adults under the jurisdiction of the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation. They also conduct consultations with persons who are eligible for parole suitability hearings. These are the fucking people that are allowing this to happen. Oh, wait, do we have deputy commissioners? No, we got deputy commissioners that are consultants with long-term persons review multi-year denials of parole. I really. Wait, who the fuck is this guy? The CDCR secretary? Let's find out. What is the CDCR the CDC? I don't know. California Department of Corrections. Oh, he's the one who fucking runs it. Appointed Jeff McComber was appointed CDCR secretary by Governor Gavin Newsom December 12th, 2022. Now, this law was passed in 2020. This guy had plenty of time to be like, you know what? Like, I understand what they're doing, and I know I have to use my discretion. And I guarantee that he has to sign off on all of these. I don't know for sure. Let's see. Oh, wait. Secretary McComber understands the importance of providing meaningful and diverse. Enhance. Diverse rehabilitative opportunities to the people in our care and to fostering a correctional system focused on the wellness and professional development of staff. Secretary McComber served in various roles at CDR headquarters from 1994 to 2004. Looks like he learned fucking nothing. I wonder who he released within that 10-year span. Then, as a correctional business manager. Oh my God. Does anyone smell nepotism here? At Richard A. McGee Correctional Training Center from 2000 to 2004, he was chief of the Program Support Unit and Transportation Unit from 2004 to 2007. And then he started at California State Prison, Sacramento, as a correctional administrator in 2008. As a deputy... He served at... Bro served as a chief deputy warden? For 1 year, then again from 10 to 13. This makes no sense to me. Oh, when he's not working, Secretary McComber enjoys tending to his vegetable garden, running, and hiking. He is married and has 2 children with 2 cats. Well, you just put your children at risk, motherfucker. Jesus fucking Christ. Wow. I mean, assuming that they're kids. Fuck you, dude. The buck stops with, it should be Gavin fucking Newsom, but Jesus fucking Christ. Fucking degenerates, man. You know who doesn't discriminate, though? Woody the wood chipper. Never discriminates. Okay. Where am I at? Okay. Yeah, so, we're going to fast forward here. For some reason, I had him in twice. But we're going to... Apparently, there's a little short film here where I think is incredibly appropriate for individuals like this if we're going to let them live and if they're going to go out into society. I want this, and you will see why very quickly.
Imagine if the most extreme punishment for committing murder wasn't life in prison or even execution, but a series of amputations controlled by the victim's family. After Willie Bingham was found guilty of assaulting and murdering a girl, a surgeon arrives at his prison cell and explains to him that his body will now be slowly amputated piece by piece.
This is, if you're going to keep them alive, this is what they deserve. Absolutely.
Beginning with his hands, then his arms and legs, then the body part that he's named after, and finally even his ears, his nose, and his tongue. According to the laws in this society, his victim's family, so the family of the girl that he killed, will get to literally decide how far his amputations go. As a part of his punishment, Willie also has to go and...
I like that his name is Willie. I see what the writers did there.
To schools and warn students what would happen to them if they follow in his footsteps, showing them what happens to criminals just like him. Some people protest these surgeries, saying that they're cruel and barbaric. Others think to punish people who commit certain crimes, something like this might just be close to justice. This short film is called The Disappearance of Willie Bingham. I talked about it a while ago and I was reminded of it recently, and it's still one of the most striking short films I think I've ever seen. This man, who surely deserves it because he was found guilty for what he did, is literally sentenced to disappear piece by piece. Let me know what you thought of this short film if you've seen it, and follow for more.
Now, if Woody the Wood Chipper retires, this is what I want. I would prefer Woody have his breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Okay, guys? But if we're going to be releasing these people, this is how I'd want to do it. Piece by fucking piece. Anyway. Got dark pretty quick, didn't it? And for all you people that enjoy your quote-unquote maps, I got one thing to say to you. Hopefully I didn't delete it.
Shit! I just got triggered.
Yeah, I don't care if you got triggered. Anyway, sorry that got really dark. I didn't know I was going to be this pissed. But yeah, I think that is an exceptional punishment for anyone that touches kids. If we're going to keep them alive, if we're going to release them back out into the community, let's make sure they lose the limbs that possess them to even do so. Because then you literally have an example out in public. Better not fucking do it. Oh, God. Need a drink after that. All right. Okay. Ugh. All right. Back to it. Now, of course, for the last 9 months or so, slowly but surely, we've been hearing more about the Epstein files. Slowly but surely been getting them, but in the last month or so, we've been getting pretty big chunks that I think people are still combing through, right? And Bill Gates, he has it right there. And he has finally, at first he denied them. But at this point, now, hold on. Whoops. All right, that's better. Now, he's coming clean. From TMZ, Bill Gates confesses to affairs with Russian women while still married to Melinda. And this was published today, a little bit earlier this afternoon, Pacific Standard Time, so about 5 hours ago. Bill Gates just dropped a bombshell. A Microsoft co-founder has reportedly fessed up to having affairs with Russian women while married to his now former wife, Melinda. We'll get to that. Gates made the admission Tuesday, telling his staff the shocking news during a town hall meeting of the Seattle-based Gates Foundation, according to the Wall Street Journal. So wait, he was at a meeting, a town hall at the Gates Foundation, and just dropped these out of nowhere? I'm guessing funding that was being threatened here. All right, well, Gates dropped the stunning revelation, admitting to having an affair with a Russian bridge player who met me at bridge events. and a Russian nuclear physicist who I met through business activities. Gates said Jeffrey Epstein later discovered the affairs, but to be clear, the women did not involve Epstein victims. According to the Wall Street Journal report, as you know, Gates has been dogged by his association with convicted PDF file Epstein over the years. And it's all coming to a head with the recent release of the Epstein files. Gates apologized for his association with Epstein on Tuesday. We've heard the apologies for a few years, Mr. Gates. We still think you're hiding shit, bro. Not gonna lie. Anyway, during his foundation speech, Gates said he hung out with Epstein in the U.S. and overseas, and even flew with the late financier on his personal jet, the Wall Street Journal reports. But Gates insists he did nothing illicit and saw nothing illicit. Bill, there are pictures of you with your hand around a woman whose face is blurred out. And that just makes me ask a few questions. Why are you lying? Moving on. Continues, to be clear, I never spent time with any of the victims and the women around him. Oh, no, guys, I call bullshit on that. So much freaking bullshit. By the way, in the Epstein files, there was an email Jeffrey Epstein appeared to send to himself talking about Bill getting an STD and the consequences of sex with Russian girls. When asked about it by 9 News Australia earlier this month, Bill said, the email is false. I don't know what his thinking was there. Now, I believe this email was back in somewhere between 2011 and 2013. And around that time, he did a call out for the next generation condom. All I'm going to say, suspicious timing there, Bill. Suspicious timing. Gates first linked up with Epstein in 2000. I think we already know the rest of this shit. Yep. So anyway, that was kind of the breaking news of the day, at least in revolving around Bill Gates. I'm sorry. I just do not believe him. I don't believe him whatsoever. We've been the news, mainstream media, YouTubers, reporters, everyone and their mother, their grandson, their mom's uncle's former roommate has been talking about this for years. It's basically been an understood non-secret for a while, Mr. Gates. And I have a feeling, I've got a feeling, that more documents are going to come out with your foot in your mouth. Now, will that happen or not? I don't know. But I have a suspicion that there are more documents tying you to him. And we will leave that there. Okay, moving on. What do we got here? Oh, some more breaking news today. Shocked. Shocked, I say. Shocked. Shocked. More Troon's violence. Someone named Blue Zeke Daly, 26, who identifies as trans, was arrested in New Hampshire for allegedly opening fire on Border Patrol agents after being stopped near the Canadian border. Because, of course, they were. Daly reportedly tried to flee and crashed into a snowbank where law enforcement made the arrest. Daly is now charged with attempted murder of a federal officer and assault of a federal officer. So we're going to see what's going on here.
We were first to break this story late on Sunday night, and it's been tough to get information. It's really been piecemeal. But now we know that this suspect is from Manchester. A 26-year-old from Manchester is in the hospital tonight after allegedly exchanging fire with Border Patrol in Pittsburgh early Sunday morning. According to an affidavit filed this afternoon, Blue Zeke Daly, who is also known as Cullen Zeke Daly, fired shots at an agent who then returned fire and shot Daly. The FBI says that Daly had been stopped in Stewartstown by the agent who asked whether Daly used other names. Daly then immediately drove away. Investigators say that officer followed Daly and
So the officer was just pulling him over and just asked if he went by other names. I might actually try to follow up on this because I wonder. I do wonder, guys, if because of what the officer said, he got triggered because of dead naming. Dude, I have met some trans people in my life that are awesome. They're great. We argue all the time, but they're awesome. All right? Majority of them, if you've known them for years and you accidentally say their, former name, they don't give a shit. They know that's going to happen. They understand if you use the wrong pronouns every once in a while, right? But we keep seeing these extreme results over and over and over and over again. To mask reality to the point of lunacy. I mean, we hear it over and over again, but it's not, and a lot of it is suicidal empathy, but in regards to like a lot of these individuals, when it comes to themselves, it's suicidal narcissism. Suicidal narcissism. That's what this is. I can't face reality, therefore I'm going to lash out to society. And if you don't, then and depending on the offense, the violence will either be small or large. We're going to keep seeing this for a little while longer. That's just what's going to happen. We're going to be seeing this for probably another 5 years to a decade. You want to know why I think that? I think that, like, this was a young dude who I bet you was, pumped full of these, hormones. When he was young, fucked up his little noodle, along with the, leftism, brainwashing, suicidal empathy bullshit. That what, thought that someone like us, are just out to get them. No, we'd like you happy and healthy. Do what you want. Just don't hurt anybody. But because of the additional brainwashing, they thought this was acceptable. But until we stop pumping our kids full of this shit, it's not going to change. We'll see it repeated and repeated and repeated over and over and over again.
When Daly approached the U.S.-Canada border, Daly tried to drive off and started shooting. The officer then returned fire, according to the affidavit, before Daly lost control and ended up in a snowbank. Officers found
all this dude had to do is say, yes, I go by a different name. It's my dead name. I transitioned. Probably would have gone off without a hitch. Like, hey, I'm just heading to the Canadian border. I'm going to visit my family in Toronto or wherever the fuck, is on the border of there.
Handgun and ammunition and is facing several charges, including attempted murder of a federal officer. The FBI is now leading this investigation alongside the U.S. Attorney in New Hampshire. Now, both of these charges carry up to 20 years in prison, respectively, and fines of up to $250,000. In Manchester, Ariel Metropolis, WMUR, News 9.
That is fucking crazy, dude. That is crazy. We still have a few more stories to get through. These are kind of the smaller stories, and then we'll lead up to our big ones. But, gee, man, just every month, how it was like every few months, then like every month, every few weeks, every 2 weeks, and now it's like every other day we're hearing some shit like this. Man. These people need help. So much fucking help. Speaking of PDF files, by the way, that are being released, this is news. A person who pleaded no contest to possession of child abuse material is now running for office as Fresno City Councilman. And believe it or not, it's happening in California, and the law is allowing it. They can't even visit a school. And this is what you are not your past. Registered SO offender seeks to join race for Fresno City Council District 7. I wonder who he's going to be representing.
I believe Fresno deserves leaders that are honest from the very beginning, not the end. So going into this, I am putting my life out there.
Upfront about his status as a registered sex offender, Rene Campos is not running from his past as he runs for office.
I've been given the chance to rehabilitate through the courts and back into the system.
Charged with being in possession of child sex abuse material back in 2018, the Fresno native says he pled no contest to a misdemeanor charge. Now launching his campaign to represent District 7 on the Fresno City Council. He says his focus is on safety.
So I say, let's choose somebody outside the box, somebody who knows the system from inside out.
There are plenty of convicts who have come out the other side who did bad things. It wasn't that motherfucker. There's plenty of them. There's plenty of convicts that were able to adjust back into society and be amazing members once they're rehabilitated. And then there's people like you. Now, as I was saying before about the one other individual that was being released from prison, you know, if we're going to do these things, we're going to let them live, come out into society, then I think we have to have drastic alternatives. I say that if you're going to run for office, then you need to chemically castrate yourself. Actually, maybe with an option, you know what? Your choice, chemically or physically. Then you can run for office. I don't know. Like if we're forced to, you know, have these individuals in our communities, let's go the extra mile. Let's make sure it never happens again.
Because I've experienced the laws that we are trying to reform right now.
Well, I don't think the laws were very effective, sir. I think you shouldn't be out at all. Ever. I think that you're a monster to society. You're literally admitting your crime. It's something that, I don't know, watching the world around us, that people like you will do this again. And just a little cherry on top, you have this huge fucking hole in your ear, which means they're gauged, and I don't trust that.
Fresno County Clerk and Registrar of Voters James Coos says state law does not prevent a registered sex offender from running for office.
Well, hopefully, the citizens there, but it is California, the citizens there will wise up, but it's California. Why do you do this to yourselves? Why? I don't want anyone to get hurt. But if you continue to eat the rat poison, when it's labeled rat poison, I'm not going to feel as bad when shit happens to you.
Once you leave prison, you're on probation, you actually are allowed in California to reapply and become a registered voter again, which would then make you eligible to be able to run as long as you are living in the proper jurisdiction.
Campos
Ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous, boys. Fucking ridiculous. What does the world come to? I don't know where I live anymore. Well, wait, I don't live in California. Oregon's not that much better, but continuing the streak. Breaking. GOP Kern County Supervisor Zach Schimmer climbed into bed with his preteen daughter and assaulted her, then used California's Epstein loophole to dodge jail. Now, I know nowadays the GOP aligns with a lot of us a little bit more nowadays. But what you want to know who doesn't care? You know what political side that you're on? Woody the wood chipper does not give a fuck. Yep, California. It's always freaking these blue states. Jesus Christ. His own son turned him in. My own father assaulted my sibling and myself. What? And was granted mental... Zoom in. Mental health diversion. Zoom in. I can't zoom in anymore. Well, I want you to zoom in further. Actually, wait, I might. Zoom in. Forgot that I had a Chrome extension. Are people going insane? An assault happens on his own children. And they go, you know what? Mental health diversion. No jail time. Mom calls it inexplicable trauma and a broken system. This escape hatch for child abusers I'm going to add a word, needs to end now. And let's see the video here. Actually, I haven't watched this yet.
He got into bed with a
We begin tonight with 17's Connor Dorr.
Oh my God. Hi, NBC. It looks like a local channel, though.
He was at today's hearing, and he has more on the stunning details revealed inside the courtroom. Connor, good evening.
Lauren, Jim, outrage spread on street corners, across social media, and throughout talk radio today as word circulated that Scrivener avoided criminal prosecution and a jail sentence when a judge ordered mental health treatment.
We have a judge problem here in the United States. Hell, we have a judge problem over in the UK. I feel bad for them as well, but what judge thought that it was even remotely in this universe reasonable for this representative to get out scot-free after assaulting his children the way that he did? This isn't even close to justice. Not even a little bit. Outside this, it is in Universe 616. Hell, the superheroes, might actually do something in Marvel 616. You never fucking know. Put the Punisher on them. This is disgusting. Your own fucking flesh and blood, you monster. I wish the worst on you. And I will hold my tongue after that.
Scrivener was accused of sexually abusing a preteen girl, but despite those allegations, the Attorney General's office never charged him with molestation.
Wait, this started with the attorney. Oh my God. The Attorney General's office didn't do shit. the judge, who could have seen this for what it is, didn't do shit. California, it sounds like you have a freaking problem. At this, you know what? I know this was like a few months ago. I forget what case it was when we were talking about this. But yeah, we need to pass laws that hold these people accountable. This isn't even close to following the law. Even, my blood's boiling, guys. I didn't think that like I would be like stopping on these topics so much. I thought I was going to be like, okay, here's another freaking weirdo, and then we look more into it, and I can't even believe that we're just letting these people go. Because he's gonna do it again. We know this. It's written in stone. Every Proctophile, every one of those judges need to go into the chipper. Well, it makes you wonder, doesn't it, Proctophile? It makes you wonder, what is the judge up to here? Or the AG?
Crimes. Instead, the disgraced former county supervisor was charged with 3 counts of child cruelty and 2 counts of illegally possessing an assault rifle.
What does the assault rifle have anything to do with this? You know what? I don't care. I don't care.
The Attorney General's office took the case because Scrivener's aunt is Kern County's District Attorney Cynthia Zimmer.
Oh, and there it fucking is. Holy shit. You've got to be... Hold on, let's hear that one more time. Nepotism.
Was charged with 3 counts of child cruelty and 2 counts of illegally possessing an assault rifle. The Attorney General's office took the case because Scrivener's aunt is Kern County's District Attorney Cynthia Zimmer.
So the district attorney couldn't take it because they're related. So the AG was like, you know what? I'm going to hook you up. You know, I've known him for years. Oh my God, it sounds like one of those guys. I can fix her. No, you cannot fix these people. Oh man. Hold on. You know what? Let's do this. California AG. Hold on. It's a dude. Rob Bonta has been Attorney General of California, serving since April 2021. Lose your job. Get unelected. Get impeached. Something. Kick you out of office because this is unfucking acceptable. Letting this monster just... Fuck. You know, I see the headline. I'm like, oh, let's discover it together. And then it gets weird. All of you. Woody Wood Chipper. I need to get with Jay Viper and see if I can like steal his Woody Wood Chipper meme. I swear to God.
To explain the outrage, we have to describe the allegations of sexual abuse that prosecutor Joseph Penny laid out during the diversion hearing. The identity of the victim is relevant to the case, but we have chosen...
I think we kind of know what the identity is. Huh?
Not to name her because of her age. Penny, the prosecutor, said on April 23, 2024, after attending a Board of Supervisors meeting just hours earlier, Scrivener took Ambien, benzodiazepines, cocaine, and drank alcohol.
So you're blaming the drugs and the alcohol? Is this what the diversion's for? You know, it was more than one victim, right? Okay. You know what this means, ladies and gentlemen? You know, if you're drunk driving and you run over someone in the car, you know, diversion. Now, someone, I know people that have been through diversion. They didn't run anyone over. They were caught, drinking and driving, blew over the limit, go through diversion, never see them again. Maybe they go through twice. Diversion makes sense when you don't kill anybody, when you don't assault anybody. If he would have taken those drugs and for some reason, went out, naked onto the street and because he was too hot, I'd be like, yeah, you have some drug problems. But you assaulted your fucking daughter, you monster. You don't get to blame the drugs for that.
He got into bed with a preteen girl.
A very specific one. How did you have access? Who would have known?
Fondled her breasts and genital area for 10 minutes.
God, poor girl. Poor fucking girl.
Penny said the victim was, quote, frozen in fear during the assault. In court, Penny used these allegations as an argument for diversion to be denied.
There's a required specific intent. And I said all along from the beginning, this cannot be proved.
If Scrivener had been charged with sex crimes, diversion would have been out of the question.
Because Mr. Scrivener is absolutely not charged with the offense as articulated in that section of, quote, lewd and lascivious act on a child.
H.A. Sala is Scrivener's attorney who described a secret tortured life in which Scrivener struggled with depression.
Oh, poor you. Poor you. But oh my God, the poor representative. It's because his mom didn't pay attention with him at all, and so he has an excuse. He has an excuse to assault a child. Yeah, he was depressed and he had a bad childhood. Oh no, Woody the wood chipper. Yeah.
Anxiety and alcohol abuse. That battle erupted in uncharacteristic behavior that led to the accusations. That kind of mental unbalance is perfect for diversion treatment, said Sala in his argument to Judge Stephanie Childers. Sala referenced that Scrivener was diagnosed by a psychologist with major depressive disorder, anxiety disorder, and alcohol abuse disorder.
But what was he diagnosed with this before the assault or after? I have a feeling. I have a feeling that it was after he got caught. Just a feeling.
Estranged wife Christina Scrivener said Scrivener almost died in 2021 of liver failure due to his alcohol abuse.
Don't care.
Your Honor, this is a tragic case involving the ultimate demise of a family. It's sad. It's sad for everyone involved.
Even more shocking and
evil. Evil is the word that you're like. I understand that the defense is the attorney is just doing his job, but no, evil. And honestly, trial by jury should have probably happened here. He would not have survived. Well, wait a minute. California, you never frickin' know.
Disturbing details of not only Scrivener, but his entire family came out in court. The prosecutor referred to police reports that described Scrivener's mother, Kathy Scrivener, a former teacher now on the Kern High School District's governing board, urging the victims at the scene to not speak to investigating officers.
Wait, what?
Of not only...
Wait, hold on.
Sad for everyone involved.
Even more shocking and disturbing details of not only Scrivener, but his entire family came out in court. The prosecutor referred to police reports that described Scrivener's mother, Kathy Scrivener, a former teacher now on the Kern High School District's governing board.
Oh my God. Nepotism on top of nepotism, a top on... Is there just an ocean that I could just walk in, leave the world behind? That'd be fantastic. By the way, in Minecraft, I am not feeling that way, but holy crap.
Urging the victims at the scene to not speak to investigating officers.
So the mom, allegedly, the mom told her own grandchildren to not speak to investigators for the sake of their father, her son. Man, this has been a depressing goddamn stream. What the fuck?
Police reports indicate that, defendant's mother was encouraging the children not to speak to the officers.
The prosecutor went on to say Kathy Scrivener was upset with District Attorney Cynthia Zimmer for calling law enforcement that night. We called...
Well, it seems that a crime happened. A pretty serious one. Yeah. Call the police. Protect the children. Not that hard to do sometimes.
Kathy Scrivener and received no reply. We called Zimmer's office. A spokesperson said Zimmer will not comment.
And so I'm disappointed. I think that, we're accused of corruption as public officials, and sometimes we feel obligated to live up to it.
Donnie Youngblood, Kern...
You know what's weird? Every single time that we see stories like this, especially in California, almost all the elected representatives are fucking insane, crazy, nepotism, guilty of something or another. And then you have the cops and the sheriffs that are like, I can only imagine how many amazing cops there is in California who have to deal with this bullshit every single day. They go through the investigation. They arrest the bad guy. They put him in jail. Okay, maybe he gets out on bail because of money and influence, but that's all right. At the end, justice is going to be done. We did our job. Just need the lawyer to just land it and put him in prison. Nope. God fucking damn. Hey, I hate Oregon too, King of the Monsters. I want to get the fuck out of here. I would love to get out of here.
Sheriff, along with many others in Kern County, believes Scrivener received special treatment.
No shit.
I think 99% of the public is going to believe whether he got special treatment, whether he did or he did not. I'm one of the 99%.
With Scrivener's diversion granted, he doesn't have to register as a sex offender.
One moment. One moment. I feel better now.
In fact, if he completes his diversion program, which involves therapy, medication, and updates to the court, the entire case will be dismissed.
You know, California, at this point, when the fire started, I felt bad. Now I wish your state would burn to the ground.
And he won't even have a criminal record. That wouldn't be the first time his record was wiped clean.
I'm sorry. Please tell me that there isn't a first incident and this is a second.
1997, he was charged with possession of marijuana for sale.
I don't even know if that's worth mentioning, but okay.
Pleaded guilty to felony marijuana cultivation, received drug diversion, and later was elected to Bakersfield City Council after campaigning on a claim he had a clean criminal record.
I understand why something like that would probably be dismissed, especially for its time. That was definitely during the DARE era, if any of you remember that program that ended up being an absolute failure.
Diversion will last for up to 2 years. Could be.
And only 2 years. Just really sinking down to sea level there, huh, California? To the bottom of it?
A lot shorter than that.
Christina Scrivener was in court with victims' rights advocate Lawrence Skidmore of the Open Door Network. As she spoke with Penny after the hearing, she wiped her eyes and face with a tissue. In this clip, you don't see tears, but there were definitely some falling. So the story does not stop here. We have continuing team coverage up next. But for all of our Zach Scrivener coverage, from when KCSO searched his Tehachapi home and to his diversion hearing this morning, scan the QR code on your screen or go to kget.com/Scrivener.
You know what? For now, I'm done with Mr. Scrivener. Screw you, Scrivener. Let's go to something... Maybe, you know what? God, I got like 4 more of like, you know what? At least this one's funny.
Listen, niggas, we got a mystery to solve.
Stop what y'all doing and share this story out, please. So let me get this right. So a black man was found at Fair Oaks Park in Marietta, Georgia, yesterday morning, and there haven't been no news coverage. 21-year-old Kyle Basinga, hope I'm saying that right, body was hanging from the tree along the walking trail. He'd been missing about over a week. They don't know how long his body been hanging, but they haven't let out no information. Think about it, y'all. If he really wanted to take himself out, he could have did that. He is not about to go, let me go lynch myself. And he ain't in jail? Nah. People gonna overdose, they gonna pew-pew, whatever. Especially if you know what I'm saying? You're not gonna go to that extent, hang yourself. So that's why I feel like I don't think he did it.
These motherfuckers are disgusting.
This is what I needed.
I really fucking hate people like this, man. Fun fact for you niggas. The second most common way of people taking themselves out is by hanging in the black community.
I like this guy. Coming out with the facts straight up. Look, we need to stop this narrative that we need to blame everything on racism first, okay? I know that it's been the trendy thing for the last, many, many decades, but we need to stop. It needs to stop.
Ain't no black person gonna ever hang themselves. That's some white people shit, is typically what niggas would say. Instead of having the serious conversation that we need to have about mental health in the black community, you niggas want to turn into a fucking race thing. This is why we're fucked up now as a people. This is one of the many reasons I shit on the black community daily. Pray for this kid's family and do fucking better, niggas.
Oh man, I never thought that I'd laugh during a kind of a sad story. He definitely uplifts it with some facts just to make things clear. But actually, that's something I didn't even know about the black community, that they're going that way. I don't know, at least looking at the picture of him, he seemed like a pretty, solid, well-groomed kid and stuff like that. Looked very healthy. Probably didn't have access to a firearm, so yeah. I that's something that we probably need to look into. I mean, I'm a huge advocate for men's mental health because we take ourselves out, God, 4 to 5 times more than women do per capita. But man, you know what? That's something I'll probably look into a little bit later on. I mean, I have a whole stream I have to do tomorrow, which is it's probably going to fail. I'll tell you guys about it later, but I'll let you know here soon once we kind of get past the stories. Now, yes, that was strangely refreshing, wasn't it? You want to know it's going to be a really weird one? Do you guys remember Brianna Wu? You might remember Brianna Wu. But for once, she gets kind of based. Or he. Or,
why are you giving children hormones? I want an answer for that. Why?
Hold on. There we go.
Children hormones. I want an answer for that. Why are you setting up a network to give children hormones
outside of the clear ad hominem
attacks? Why are you doing?
This is what they do. See, you got, for once, you got Wu here actually being based. And look at the deflection and hominem attacks. You're not even defending it. You're dismissing it. But just like, Brianna here, they would like to know why. I would like to know why. I would like to see you actually defend it rather than having a little tiny tiff dismissal thing. That I want to know what you really think. And I have a feeling that I know what you really think. I think that you're a disgusting human being that prays over children.
Again,
just answer the question. Don't give me bullshit. Why are you doing
all progress requires some pushback.
Progress. Chemically castrating children. Progress, ladies and gentlemen. That's what they call it.
Why are you giving children
We are going
hormones
to need to
illegally?
keep on
Why are you
fighting
doing
if
this,
we
Eli?
want to see trans
Why
youth,
did you set up a
trans youth
network to give
protected
No such thing as a trans child, just groomers like you.
and
children
get the
hormones?
necessary health care that they need.
She can't answer. She's not a serious person, Pierce. This is not serious time.
I'm sorry, yelling over me isn't going.
Brianna's not even yelling. I mean, sounds like Brianna's trying to yell at you. It sounds like Wu has a cold here. I want to make a joke, but I am on Brianna's side here for the moment.
You're not answering the question. Why are you giving children hormones legally? Why are you setting up networks to do this, Eli? Why?
So
this is a crime. I want to know why you're doing it. It really hurts us. It makes us look deranged. Why are you doing
Eli,
this?
why are you doing it?
Well, this is going to make some great TV. Look,
Yes, watching your little struggle bus to answer a question is very entertaining. I would like to know why. I don't think you're really going to answer the question. Because I think you know. You know that it's bad. And this is the only way that you'll know how to reproduce. And that's by grooming kids. At least that's what I think, in my opinion.
trans youth are denied necessary health care.
What makes it healthcare? What's wrong with them? You want to know one of the big issues that I have with trans ideology? Decades ago, it was actually a mental illness. Now it's what's it called? Crap. Essentially, it's something that spreads. It's an ideology that just spreads. And let's just, let's actually go back for a second. Let's just say majority of the time it is mental disorder, right? Okay. It's the only mental disorder that I can think of where the cure is leaning into it. And here's what I mean by that. Would you ever tell a schizophrenic to say, listen to the voices? No, you wouldn't. And then there's also the other mental disorder that, women suffer from, bulimia, anorexia. How many doctors would go, no, you're actually really fat when they weigh 77 pounds? No, it's the only mental illness, which it is, but it's the only mental illness, which I think more so now it's an ideology, where the cure is it social contagion. Thank you. God damn it. I think it's more of a social contagion with anything, especially with women. Yes, so it's a social contagion. Where was I going with this? But it's the only one where it's like the cure is giving into it. It's like telling a cancer patient, be like, just let it kill you and things will be better. Listen to the voices in your head. Things will be better. No, because it is along with sexual identity is the only reason why these people are pushing it, because they're conflating two very different issues. They're trying to combine sexuality with gender dysphoria. Two completely different things. And it becomes the same thing when people take advantage of it, especially the men that are wearing dresses. Anyway, let's hear this individual's nonsense.
We always have to step in. And right now,
Why? Why do you have to step in? I want to know.
Very brave trans lawyers like Chase Strangio.
You're still not answering the question. Why? Why are you trying to sell illegal hormones to children? That's what we would like to know.
Are in the Supreme Court fight.
Look at Brianna here. Just being like, look, I know that I put myself in my own position, but at least I'm not trying to push it on children. Like, you know what? I will give Brianna where credit is due. There's a line. I think that Brianna believes in some crazy shit, but at least has every intention to keep the kids safe. I believe that Brianna has gone kind of back and forth on that before, but I think that was a few years ago. So, they may have changed their mind here.
For trans kids because
in a case he's going to lose.
I actually
There's no
agree
such
with
thing
that.
as a trans kid.
Tell me.
That's very silly.
Pierce, there's no such thing as a trans kid. That's child abuse. When you take somebody who's still growing up, figuring out who they are, doesn't know anything about sexuality and shouldn't at that young age, and you try to convince them that there's something other than what they were born to be, that's a problem. It's child abuse. That's my opinion. But also, you're talking about trans kids and their mental health. There was a study that was done about mental health for trans youth, and guess what? The results did not come back favorably, so they wanted to bury it, and that is a fact. So if you show me some data that shows that this gender affirming care is actually beneficial, let's see it, because the one that was done that a lot of money was poured into came out the other way, and the community tried to bury it. So don't target children.
Correct.
If you want.
Oh, that is quite correct. It's been happening for the last decade, and you fucking know it. You want this whole trans ideology thing is, especially with kids. All it is just fitting in. That's all it is. It is a gateway for victim points. Oh, you transitioned? That you must be having it so tough. Everyone has it fucking tough. One way or another, everyone. You could be the most privileged person in the world. You had some probably tough aspects in your life. Get over it. Grow up. Let puberty set in. Once you learn a little bit about life, you go, oh. And I think we all went through this. All of us. felt kind of weird about our bodies when we were like in middle school, high school, you know, trying to figure out where, we fit in, especially with all the cliques and stuff. And then you get older. And then like once you're in your late 20s, you're just kind of like, I was kind of stupid back then. All of us were. Just gotta go through those fucking motions, dude. That's what kids need to do. They just gotta go through the motions. They'll figure it out. This is not the answer. This is why I keep saying, like, you know what? I know that we say this, but I mean, we have laws about, people not being able to rent cars till they're 21. I don't think that any surgical or chemical intervention should be done on any trans shit until you're 25 years old. Yeah, I said it. No. You gotta learn through some shit before you make that decision. I'm sorry. You gotta be an adult for a little while.
Want to talk about adults and trans rights for adults, that's fine, but leave children out of that. And that's what a lot of conservatives are simply asking for. Leave kids alone. Let them live their lives and figure out what they want to do when they're of age to make those kind of decisions.
I completely listen. We had an infamous clinic in London called the Tavistock Clinic, where no one was allowed to criticise what they were doing, which was mutilating young kids, and it shut down.
And by the way, this is also rampant in the DD community. IDD, intellectual developmental disabilities, rampant. Because they're so vulnerable and very gullible to fall into these traps. It's sickening.
Now, in total disgrace and ignominy and shame. But you know what isn't shut down? The damage that was done to those kids. And I'm afraid that I agree with Tommy. I don't think any prepubescent child should ever be exposed to any of this nonsense. Let them go through puberty. Let them go through puberty and work out for themselves what kind of life they want. That's fine. But don't mutilate kids or treat them this way or pump them with hormones or puberty blockers.
I was one of those children.
I don't give a fuck. Guess what? Sounds like you made your decision as an adult. And, did whatever you wanted to do. Do not press your insecurities on fucking kids.
Peers, and I'm an adult now. I'm very happy.
Good for you, but many children were not.
Yeah, dude. I completely understand that, Proctify. Like, dude, yeah, let's not get into weird details here. But everyone, some way or another, they go through a weird patch. All right? Like from 14 all the way to 25, trying to figure ourselves out. I mean, for me, like I remember, especially since I was a theater kid, I remember I was hanging out with a friend. Like, man, can never get girls. Like, are we possibly gay? Then, literally, it's just that movie moment where you see a beautiful woman just walk down a sidewalk, and we're like, nope, we just don't know how to talk to him. It's like. Everyone goes through a weird patch, and you have to figure it out. Doing this kind of damage to your body is such a permanent thing, and kids, especially, we've all been there. We think it's the end of the world at some point. I remember, something happened with a girl, and I freaked out, and and I, said some stupid stuff that made me not look really good, and I was just nervous, and I didn't know what to say, and, all that stuff. All that stuff. You gotta go... You gotta fail. You gotta be able to fail, even if that's not what was intended. You will fail at so many things. And that's okay. But don't fail your body and your mind over something that was invented by creeps almost 60 years ago. Don't do that to yourself. Anyway, we will leave that there. This was just kind of a little bit of a tidbit because I didn't know. We have our finance secretary, I believe he is. I didn't know this about him. Never talks about it. But listen to this.
You are the highest ranking gay public policy office holder, I believe, in the history of America. And I'll bet you there are some people watching that don't know that what I just said. Because you're not a member of the Biden administration. That hasn't been the top line of your resume. You're not the first and proclaimed and celebrated because of that fact. That's been a fact in the background.
I bet you guys have seen Scott Bessent. Yeah, the Treasury Secretary. Hundreds of times online, if not thousands, talking about finances, talking about what policies that, he's, working with Trump to in place. It's been a year. I had no idea. He's like, no one's business. Not the coolest part about me. I just want to get the work done. You know what, Scott Bessent? You are BAMF of the day. And they call us homophobic.
Important to the Trump administration. I'm just curious what that says about you and the Trump administration.
Well, it's what it says about President Trump. President Trump created the cabinet, not because who you go home to at night, not because of the color of your skin, not because of your religion, not because of some background. Created it based on merit. So, like, I go to the office every day knowing that I was chosen on merit.
And you know what, Mr. Bessent? I hope you have a handsome dude at home that you bang one out to. All right? Good for you, man. Okay. We're getting closer to the main topics of the story here. I saw this. Let's see here. Okay. So, watch Ilhan. This is from Liz of TikTok. Watch Ilhan Omar get caught lying, claiming that she never said our country should be more fearful of white men. I never said that. So this is a gotcha moment.
Hi, Congresswoman Omar. You were just talking about how Trump's economy has failed the American people, but I think the American people really want to know how you went from a negative 65,000 before coming into Congress to over $30 million in just 7 years.
My disclosure is public enough.
Yeah, it is. And so a lot of people now are looking into that and finding S. Crew Winery, a winery that doesn't actually seem to exist. Is that a real winery, or?
Do you all actually look at and read things, or do you just ask silly questions?
Notice that she didn't answer the question. Didn't technically answer the question.
Well, it's listed in the financial disclosure, so can you explain it? Because we have a lot of questions about.
By the way, just a side note here. Yes, just this lady journalist not only being based, asking the right questions, but yes.
About it, and things just aren't adding up. There's no real phone number. There's no real location.
Why did you want to buy some wine?
If it exists, you know what? I bet you Smash JT would try her wine just to see if it exists. Smash, if you ever see this, see if you can buy a bottle of her wine. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's all imaginary, but that would be hilarious.
Probably not from you, to be honest. Recently stated that the American people should be afraid of the white man. They should be fearful of the white man.
I never said that.
Yeah, you're on video saying it.
Our country should be more fearful of white men across our country because they are actually.
Yeah, once the narrative stops, once the narrative isn't believed anymore, once it starts crashing down, you magically forget what your platform was all about. Weird.
Actually causing most of the deaths within this country. No, I did not.
Yes, you.
Again, this is like what I said. You need to prepare yourself because.
Oh, she was more than prepared. More than prepared. Just hope that you prepare to pack your luggage and get the fuck out of this country. Can't wait.
Because you can't continue embarrassing yourself like this.
So I'm just a liar.
What I was quoting was an actual study done by the FBI.
No. No, you weren't. You were making shit up.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you, Congresswoman.
Oh, wait. Look at. Hold on. Let's see if we can.
Thank you, Congresswoman.
Yeah. She's like, can't wait to put in that clip. Let's see here. Okay. So we're actually going to talk about the State of the Union last night. And Mr. Warren Smith, he came out with a video today. Usually I try not to do same-day videos, but he really does nail it on the head. And he has over 250,000 views already. So I think he's going to be just fine with my little stream here. If not, he can more than copyright claim me. I'll be more than happy to share the revenue. But he put it in a way where I'm like, wait a minute. This was actually very intentional of Trump to do last night. And I'm like, oh, yeah. Holy shit.
Last night, Trump outsmarted all of his political opponents with this single move.
One of the great things about the State of the Union is how it gives Americans...
God, this is going to haunt this dude forever. I don't know from what state he hails from, but this is going to be used over and over and over again on campaigns against him.
...a chance to see clearly what their representatives really believe.
I love that the camera is on this guy because this summarizes the entire dynamic. You see him perk up like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, no. Is this really about to happen? Yes, it is. He's embracing the concept of show, don't tell. At the last State of the Union, they realized this worked really well, so they just fine-tuned it, amped it up. He begins by setting the stage.
Because we finally have a president who puts America first. Put America first.
He then introduces a policy change that Congress is not going to be able to engage in insider trading anymore. This forces them to concede.
They stood up for that. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Didn't answer.
He's like, hey, you're for American people. You're for transparency, right? Right. Oh, now you're standing up.
See Pelosi stand up if she's here. Doubt it.
Trump then doubles down on show, don't tell by using example after example after example.
Delilah Colvin was only 5 years old in June.
Now, the thing is, I didn't really think about it this way until Warren kind of pointed this out. And he doesn't explicitly say this, but you rarely are in a position where the president of the United States is in front of, well, most of Congress. And you have people standing up and sitting down where it is appropriate to. You don't see a lot of that at any other events like this. It is certainly something that a president can take advantage of. And we've seen presidents take advantage of this every single year. Every single year. Doesn't matter which president. But I think what really, really, really nails it here is that he strung them along so perfectly. And just because he was able to get them to stand for that moment, it hits down so much harder.
Beth Medina was supposed to perform in her town's Christmas parade.
His opponents will claim these are just anecdotes. Yes, but they're anecdotes that could have been prevented. And there's no denying that. These things happened. Their family is there in the room. He already knows they're not going to stand, but he then begins to bait them in just to ensure the outcome.
And it is the American people who pay the price in higher medical.
I got to say one thing, guys. Whoever was the producer of C-SPAN last night was the best. They knew exactly who to frame on every single moment, and it was beautiful.
Bills, car insurance rates, rent, taxes, and perhaps most importantly, crime. We will take care of this problem. We're going to take care of this problem. We are not playing games.
Now the stage is set. He moves in for the kill. I've never seen anything like this in a State of the Union.
One of the great things about the State of the Union is how it gives Americans the chance to see clearly what their representatives really believe. So tonight I'm inviting every legislator to join with my administration in reaffirming a fundamental principle.
He's so nervous. He's literally biting his fingernails.
If you agree with this statement, then stand up.
And look, he's looking directly at them. The Democrats are like right in his line of sight. He's like, I dare you. I dare you, mofos. Fuck, let's fucking go. No, you're afraid of the mental illness that you have caused on your side of the aisle. Let's go.
Up and show your support. The first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens.
Would anyone deny that, regardless of how you feel about Trump? Rather than pointing out they're not standing up, he's requesting that they stand up to show support for something.
This picture, and I believe John Fetterman's over here, but this picture, this frame, this video is going to be used over and over and over again for the midterms. And there's going to be no escaping it.
Now he waits and lets it sink in.
He even does the little...
Now he waits and lets it sink in.
He's like, what are you going to do? Really? Really?
It's difficult to believe that half of the government could be so stupid to allow themselves to fall into this trap. A lot of thought went into how to phrase the wording of this. It was designed to trap them, and it did. It was worded perfectly. I mean, just look how long this went on for. I wish the cameras had focused on their faces more. We get a few examples here. You could just imagine the people at home and how they're feeling looking at their screens.
I don't know. I get what Warren is saying, but I would fall back on what I said before, is that shot of all of them saying, no, my job is not to prioritize the American people. Look at all of them. Almost half of them. And that's what the embarrassing moment is for them. And they all know it's going to be cycled. Like, this is probably going to last like a month or two. But it's going to come back in October, November with a vengeance.
And they're just like, crap, there's no way out of this. It's almost like he's thinking, well, you kind of have to respect it. It was so well done. All they can do is wait for it to be over.
Hey, Daryl.
Isn't that a shame? You should be ashamed of yourself not standing up.
Now the stage is set. Now he proposes the Save America Act.
You should be ashamed of yourself. That is why.
Look at all the people. They're relying on other votes that are not American citizens. Follow up with the SAVE Act.
I am also asking you to end deadly sanctuary cities that protect the criminals and enact serious penalties
and
for
then
public
right
officials
here, done. You're done. You're done.
Who block the removal of criminal aliens, in many cases drug lords.
And Ilhan Omar is.
Oh, did we get a raid by Jay Viper? I don't know. There's stuff going on in YouTube right now in YouTube Studio. I'm not able to see it.
Pissed.
Murderers all over our country. They're blocking the removal of these people out of our country, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
You're done.
I'm asking you to approve the Save America Act.
Then he moves to voter ID, and this is the final nail in the coffin.
All voters must show proof of citizenship in order to vote.
The first principles have been laid out, and now it becomes even more clear when he introduces the concept of voter ID and that they won't allow voter ID to occur.
And no more crooked mail-in ballots except for illness, disability, military, or travel. None.
That's why he timed this perfectly. He brought this one in right when the eyeballs are on this the most.
And even the new communist mayor of New York City, I think he's a nice guy, actually.
He points out the hypocrisy. Well, Mondami, in New York to shovel snow, you need voter ID. That was his requirement, therefore, logically, he knows it's necessary.
Wants him to shovel snow, but if you apply for that job, you need to show 2 original forms of ID and a social security card.
But not.
And the thing is, this is the one time, a lot of times, where a lot of American citizens are watching this. Either they're hate watching, or they love Trump, or they just enjoy the political process, or they're just curious. It's laid out, plain and simple, clean, like a sheet of blank paper.
When it comes to voting, and there's no counter to this, and that is checkmate.
Yet they don't want identification for the greatest privilege of them all, voting in America. No, it's no good.
And when you see something like this, it does cause you to question the validity and fairness of the process itself. This is pretty damning evidence. He set the stage, he created the perfect spectacle, and then hammers it home.
And Congress should unite and enact this common sense, country-saving legislation right now, and it should be before anything else happens.
If you disagree, fine, let me know. Where am I wrong about this?
And the reason they don't want to do it, why would anybody not want voter ID? One reason, because they want to cheat. There's only one reason.
Trying to look at this objectively through the lens of optics, this is going to have an impact.
They make up all excuses. They say it's racist. They come up with things, you almost say, what imagination they have. They want to cheat, they have cheated, and their policy is so bad that the only way they can get elected is to cheat.
Overall, it was a very good speech. This is the part that was most important.
I don't know if it's the most important, but it definitely was the most effective. That is going to be used. I know I keep saying it, but that is going to be used over and over and over and over again in the midterms. There's no escaping it. Can you imagine, like, normal Democrats that are stuck with CNN, MSN Now, or MSN Marxism, or whatever we're calling it nowadays, who have been kind of stuck in this bubble, but all the news stations are on it. CNN, MSN, Fox News, what's the new one? News Nation. All the YouTubers, Democratic YouTubers that are watching this. All of them that are in that little bubble. If even just a sliver of them take a step back and go, whoa. It's going to make an impact. Calling it. All right, now we're going to finally be getting to the two main topics of the stream. Now, we got Representative Tony Gonzalez refuses to sign after text messages appear to show him to be having an affair with a young married female staffer who eventually set herself on fire after her husband found out and it was all exposed. And this is one of the kind of interviews afterwards, the walk and talk interviews, the Game of Thrones interviews.
No. You're not. Are those text messages correct? Are they accurate?
I am not going to resign. I work every day. I work every day for the people of Texas.
But are those text messages, are they accurate? Are those real text messages?
I'm not going to resign. I'm not going to resign. I work every day for the people of Texas.
Did you carry it?
And there will be an opportunity for all the details and facts to come out. What you've seen is not all the facts.
Did you have an extramarital affair with the staff?
What you've seen is not all the facts, and there'll be an ample time for all of that to come out.
What are the facts? Can you address it right now? Your constituents
Not answering the question.
My constituents are not here in D.C.
Yeah, it's almost done, guys, but the video I'm following up with, he's done, hook, line, and sinker.
My constituents are back home in Texas.
So I want you to remember, all that they said did not answer the question. Not all the facts are out, right? Now, I understand, innocent until proven guilty in the court of law. Now, I don't think he's going to be sent to any courts. I'm not sure. But this is Brandon Herrera. So Brandon Herrera, if you don't know, he is a YouTuber. I think he's known as the AK guy. He's also on the podcast Unsubscribe. Really fantastic speaker, like really based dude. Definitely one of those guys, and I know it's cliche, but like sit down and have a beer with him kind of guy. He's just to the point, has the facts, really believes in American exceptionalism, the Second Amendment, the First Amendment, like he is homegrown American brew. Like that's exactly what he is. Now, remember Tony saying it's not all the facts. Not all of it's come out yet. Well, enough has come out. And if you know anything about Brandon, soon to be Representative Herrera, especially after this, he doesn't tend to go below the belt. He does not do anything in regards to, his opponent's personal lives. But obviously, there is an exception here. And you guys are about to find out why.
This is not a video I ever expected to make, and I take no joy in making it. My plan this cycle has been to continue to tell the truth about Congressman Tony Gonzalez and his voting record, how he continues to vote against the Constitution during his time in office. However, in the last few days, the case that I'm about to discuss has become the subject of national debate. And so I feel like I have an obligation to provide the most accurate details possible. I would have never expected in a million years to have to tell the story that I'm about to tell, nor would I ever consider it appropriate if this were mere conjecture. But at this point, these are no longer allegations. This has now been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt to be true, and the truth must be told. The voters have a right to know. And that is why, for the sake of the district, the party, and the country, Tony Gonzalez should step down. I'll start from the beginning.
Now remember, he is still running for office against this individual, Tony. So he does have a stake in the game. But what I like about Brandon is that he does not make this personal. He just puts out the facts as they are and has a record of doing so and not getting into personal shit. But this did involve a staffer. This did lead to someone's deletion of themselves. So I think that's why, one of the reasons why he's doing this.
Regina Santos Aviles was a regional director for Texas 23rd Congressional District, Congressman Tony Gonzalez. She was originally from Uvalde and had served prior running the Uvalde Chamber of Commerce. From everyone that I've spoken to and from every account that I've been able to find, she was beloved by the community and took great pride in her work. She joined Tony's staff in November of 2021 and dedicated the rest of her life to serving the district, including her hometown of Uvalde, with various issues that the district was facing. But on September 13th, 2025, first responders were called to her home after an alleged suicide via self-immolation, where she was declared dead the next day from her injuries. She left behind her husband and an 8-year-old son. Several days after the fact, when asked, Tony said that he was, quote, heart-stricken at the news of her passing. He did not attend the funeral.
I missed that part when I watched this the first time. Holy shit! That is a conscious guilt if I've ever seen one.
Immediately after, a multitude of media sources, such as Current Revolt, asked a number of questions, including whether or not Tony and Regina were involved in a romantic relationship. Tony Gonzalez's office responded to every inquiry except the latter. All records were then sealed by Uvalde PD, from the police reports to the autopsy to any mention of Regina and Tony. This fed speculation, and multiple publications.
Well, that isn't suspicious at all. All right, let's look at these headlines. Married congressman had alleged affair with aide before she set herself on fire. Bombshell revelation as police block release of 911 call and other evidence. Yikes. Man, I feel for her family right now.
Started reporting on the alleged affair between Tony and Regina. This would be a bombshell, as Tony is a married man with 6 children and often uses his appearance as a family man for his public image. It would also be completely against House ethics rules, subject to an investigation and penalties.
So I think that's one of the reasons that kind of allows Brandon to talk about this on his YouTube channel. Because it's one thing if, like, you have a personal issue with your family, you know, I think he stays out of it. Brandon has stayed out of it for the most part. But when you are actually breaking policy within, you know, your status as a representative of the United States for your district, you're going to have to talk about that.
Tony, of course, avoided any public scrutiny, including running away from multiple reporters.
Multiple media outlets have reported that you had an affair with Regina Santos Aviles. Is there any response you have to that?
We're here at Fort Sam. We're here at Fort Sam unit at the ceremony. Please have some respect.
I understand, but veterans fought for my right to ask you questions.
Hey, how are you doing?
He also canceled all media appearances and banned journalists and reporters from any of his future events. All of this came to a head a few months later, where for the first time, after no hard evidence had come out, Tony officially denied the affair.
The rumors are completely untruthful. I also say, it's like, I don't know exactly what happened.
Which, as we will soon find out, was a complete bold-faced lie. But at this...
Man, I know I'm not giving a lot of commentary here, man, but this video is just that good. Like, I am consistently engaged in what's going to happen next, even though I've already seen this. Like, this story is unreal. Well, the fact that there's a, you know, an affair between a staffer and a congressman, we've heard that 100 times. Not a lot of people set themselves on fire afterwards. And man, you know, thoughts and prayers for, you know, her son and husband, but yeah, this one stands out.
Point, with no concrete evidence and an official denial of the affair, the story more or less died for a couple of months. That was at least until early February, where a former Tony staffer from Uvalde who worked hand in hand with Regina for 2 years for the congressman decided to risk potential repercussions and come forward. Not only did he have his personal account of Regina telling about the affair with Tony, but he also brought forward screenshots of Regina admitting to the affair, specifically texting the staffer, and I quote, "I had an affair with our boss."
Let's see. Regina whispered about and asked questions to which I never gave them a word. They really hurt me, you know, but my career is solely based on public career. I think she meant career. And that organization has already hurt so badly. Okay, so I think, and this staffer's responding to what Regina said here. They defamed me and it's really bad. I had to go to that wedding for my friend on Saturday, and everyone had already knew the accusation and was thrown at me. So we don't get to see the whole thing. So staffer says, WTF, mate. This sounds so effed up. But Haley's not even hot. She needs to calm down. And then responding to, I was being looked at, stared at, whispered about, and asked questions to which I never gave them a word. Okay, we already kind of read that. Staffer says, you're fine, I promise. Just hold your head high. The office doesn't know anything about it. And if they were to find out, I would have your back 1,000,000%. You will be fine. I swear to God, you will be fine. I had an affair with our boss and I'm fine. You will be fine. I know I'll be fine. I'm not afraid of that. Oh, did I get these messages? Yeah, I got it mixed up. Oh, I see what happened here. Okay. Wow, I read those completely reversed. Damn. So she was trying to console someone else. And just admitted it right here. Wow.
Obviously referencing Tony. He even told about the facilitation of his family cabin for Tony, which he only later found out was used for
Common knowledge. The former staffer said the relationship became known to some staff members during the 2024 election cycle. He said Gonzalez stayed at the ex-staffer's family's rental cabin in Konkan near Uvalde. I don't know if I'm saying that right. During the primary campaign, and that on 2 occasions in May 2024, Gonzalez and Santos Avieles went there together and stayed 1 or 2 hours. Yeah.
Extramarital activities. After this news started to break, Tony continued to double down and deny any wrongdoing, despite for the first time, material evidence is starting to come forward. Now, at this point in the story is where, unfortunately, I get involved. In Tony's denial, he blamed me for his actions, saying it was my fault that a, quote, disgruntled former staffer.
Ms. Santos Avieles was a kind soul who devoted her life to making her community a better place. Gonzalez said in a statement, her efforts led to improvements in school safety, healthcare, and rural water like never before. It's shameful that Brandon Herrera, okay, so he flew the mud first. All right, yeah, then, Brandon has every fucking right to comment on this. Oh, buddy. I probably shouldn't have done that, man. Especially with someone with a community of his size. Not the smartest thing to do in this situation. Is using a disgruntled former staffer to smear her memory and score political points, conveniently pushing this out the very day early voting started. I am not going to engage in these personal smears and instead will remain focused on helping President Trump secure the border and improve the lives of all Texans. Tony Gonzalez attacks primary opponent for mid-reporting of his affair with aide who died by deletion.
Was given a voice and that he wouldn't engage in personal smears. Which is rich, considering the same person who is now condemning personal smears ran an entire campaign last cycle personally smearing me.
Bob Good endorsed my opponent, a known neo-Nazi. These people used to walk around with white hoods at night. Now they're walking around with white hoods in the daytime.
But what I find most interesting is...
Yeah, Brandon Herrera is nowhere near some sort of racist. Like, Tony Gonzalez was a very odd Republican nominee. Like, if I remember correctly, like a majority of his stuff, like he would basically be against it. He would say, Second Amendment, oh yeah, and then be voting against Second Amendment rights like all the fucking time. So that's why Brandon had a big problem with him there. But yeah, just giving you guys a little bit of context.
That now faced with proof, he condemns me and the staffer who came forward with evidence while refusing to deny the claims that have been made. And now, the bombshell. In the last week, Regina's husband has stepped forward. Not only was he personally willing to confirm the affair, but he went on to go and tell his side of the story that he was keeping private out of concerns for his son. Which is completely understandable, but now with the evidence that is coming forward from former staffers, he stepped forward to set the record straight.
Yeah, like when stuff starts getting out, like when I was being doxxed, like I kind of had to make that call for myself. Like, you know what? I would rather get ahead of it myself than have some moron who doesn't know all the facts, do it. Not sure if that was the right thing to do for me, but no takesy backsies. All right, let's see what they said. Avieles said he was speaking out now because he wants their 8-year-old son to know that they're dead. I would feel like my son when he gets older. I want him to know that I made an attempt to clear his mother's name. Okay. Okay, I get that.
He also came forward with text messages from Regina's phone, confirmed by forensic software, showing that not only was Tony involved in a sexual relationship with...
The texts have drawn additional scrutiny to the Texas Republican who is now facing bipartisan criticism over his alleged affair with Santos Aviles. An attorney for the staffer's husband alleged to CBS News that last week that Gonzalez coerced Santos Aviles into a sexual relationship. Gonzalez has denied the affair in the past, but has claimed he is being extorted. I can see that happening, but at least I'm trusting Brandon with this, and I think just watching his content, obviously I don't know him or anything like that, watch his content, see how he presents himself, the standards he has for himself. As far as he's presenting it, and if it's in good faith, and I think it is, it's one of those stories that's like, it's gonna get out. It's gonna get out. And hell, there might be more facts that Brandon doesn't know about, right? Like maybe the staffer who, Aviles? Okay, sorry about that, man. Like the staffer, like maybe there's blackmail involved, like before, he went public with it, right? Or he or she did. But yeah, I have a feeling that's not going to be the case. I have a feeling.
Regina, but that he pressured her into it from a position of power, with her even mentioning several times that he was going too far, and even at one point asking if he was sober. These are only a handful of texts that have been put forward of what I'm told are thousands of texts between Regina and Tony. Keep in mind, this is a married congressman with 6 children talking to a married female subordinate. From Tony to Regina. Then send me a sexy pic. Regina says, I swear my...
Yeah, you're toast, dude. Sorry, Tony. But you're done. You're done.
Life has been a telenovela for the past 7 days. You really don't want a hot picture of me. Tony says, yes, I do. Hurry. She asks, is this a test? Later she says, no, I just don't like taking pictures of myself, to which he replies, I'm just such a visual person. He then goes on to ask her favorite position. She asks,
Bro. This is evidence. Well, it's a cliche, but it is continued evidence that Jesus Christ, some men just cannot keep it in their goddamn pants.
Yours first, and then goes on to ask, so is this why you're quiet around me sometimes, because you think I'm hot? He responds to this by saying, on top, pinning your legs. To which she then pumps the brakes and says, this is going too far, boss. So how long have you thought I was this hot? He says, what do you like? And then answers, since you worked at the Chamber of Commerce in Uvalde. And then following up on that, reminder, this is a married congressman to a married subordinate. He asks, anal?
We're going to press play.
She replies, never. The texts then from this point lead to them arranging to meet up at the cabin that then gets picked up by the story that the other former staffer had told. where he unwittingly set up an extramarital affair between his boss and his friend. These texts and the confirmation of a long-denied affair have sparked national outcry. Local state rep Wes Riddell has called for Tony to step down, while members of Congress have either asked for him to suspend his campaign or even outright resignation. And over the last few days, their complaints have made nationwide news, including reaching the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson.
Mr. Speaker, why should Tony Gonzalez resign, given these very serious accusations?
There are serious accusations, and it must be taken seriously, and I've told him he's got to address that with his constituents.
It has also come out that the House Ethics Committee has launched its own investigation. At this point, we know beyond a shadow of a doubt that Tony Gonzalez is guilty of an extramarital affair and lying to his family, the press, and the people, of abusing a position as a member of Congress for sexual misconduct, and wrecking a home to the degree that a young woman is now dead. Up to this point, my campaign against Tony has been relying solely upon the issues, problem that I have and his voters have with his voting record. But this goes beyond that now. It is now irrefutable that Tony Gonzalez is a wicked man and must be removed. Now, next week on March 3rd, voters will have the opportunity to have their voices heard. But as we've seen, this goes far beyond politics. While Tony might rightfully lose his job, a husband and son are still grieving a wife and mother. So right now, while I have your attention, I'd like to ask you to help me help the family that Regina left behind. In the past few days, I've had the privilege of speaking with Regina's husband, and with his permission, we've set up a GoFundMe to help with the family and specifically to set something aside for the son. He seems like a great kid with a promising future, and we'd like to help them with that as much as possible. And Tony's made it clear he's not only not going to help the family, but instead he's going to go on the offensive and attack them. So anything
I will not be blackmailed. Representative Gonzalez accuses former aide's husband of trying to profit from wife's death affair. Oh, man. Dude, I get it going on the defense. It's over, man. This is not going to help you, little Tony. Give up. Take whatever dignity you have left and save your relationship with your own family. I can only imagine how your wife feels. Holy shit.
community can do would be greatly appreciated, I'm sure. So there's no sponsor on this video. There's no asks, nothing other than please help us to help a young boy face a future without his mother. And lastly, to Ernest Anthony Tony Gonzalez.
Ernest?
Hasn't this gone far enough for you? When this all started, my only qualms with you were your voting record. 2 years ago, when I lost that election, we sat down like men. You shook my hand, you looked me in the eyes, and you promised me things would be different. I was genuinely horrified to find out what kind of man I shook hands with that day. And unlike the smears you've done on me, you'll find that nothing I've said in this video was taken out of context. These are simply your words and your actions. This is your last chance to be a man and take some accountability. Step down. For the sake of the country, for the sake of Texas, for the sake of common decency. Step down.
Damn. How he didn't get elected the first time? Wow. If I make a video on this, I'll definitely have the GoFundMe in there, but in case anyone's interested. Why isn't it letting me set? Yeah. Oh, it's not. What? Copy link address. Let's do it one more time. Oh, hold on. What the fuck's going on? Hold on. Let me do this differently. Let's do this. Okay, there we go. Don't know why my my chat is being weird giving it to you guys, but yeah, here we go. Yeah, there you go. If anybody wants to, help out, there's the link. And I'll put in the description below if I make a video on this later. Damn. That's a crazy story. People dodging accountability like Neo in the Matrix is a common theme nowadays. Oh man, you should have been here earlier in the stream. The people that have gotten away with the worst crap just due to nepotism, like horrible shit earlier in the stream. God, for those of you that stayed on, I honestly can't believe that you did. It got dark real quick. All right, moving on. Let's see. Actually, we're gonna do this guy first. Let's So this was posted last night after you know what? No, we're probably running out of time here. We're just gonna jump straight to the fraud stuff. So, as is mentioned last night, and from Nick Shirley's reporting, and the more that have come out since then, that we're looking at least $19 billion of fraud just in Minnesota. And at this moment, and I believe President Trump said last night that that he is putting Vice President Vance, along with some people from the Department of Justice, looking into this, along with Dr. Oz, and they're kind of going to go over their plan here. And they actually do make an announcement in regards to it, like really kind of putting the pedal to the metal on this entire thing. So hold on, let's see if I can skip ahead here. Oh, wow, they really just do start like right off the bat. Okay.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. So let me say a couple things about what we're announcing today, and then I'm going to kick it over to Dr. Oz, and then we are going to take a few questions. So as a lot of you know, there are way too many Americans who are being defrauded by very bad actors in our society, people who take the goodwill and the trust of the American taxpayer and they decide to use it against us. They decide to make themselves rich instead of allowing these programs that are set up to make it easier for people to take care of their families, to make it easier for autistic kids to get the after-school services they need, to make it easier for people to get the health care that they need. And we are going to start very aggressively in the administration cracking down on the people and the organizations that are defrauding Americans. So we're announcing today that we have decided to temporarily halt certain amounts of Medicaid funding that are going to the state of Minnesota in order to ensure that the state of Minnesota takes its obligations seriously to be good stewards of the American people's tax money. Now, what is this going to mean?
Yeah. He's like an appointee of the White House now. You didn't know that that Dr. Oz was all part of this again? Well, not again, but all part of this now? He's been in office with Trump for like a year. A few weeks ago when they announced Trump RX, he was part of that announcement. Yeah. Where have you been, Daryl?
This means is that, first of all, the providers on the ground.
So he just said something. They are withholding essentially $250 million from the state of Minnesota until they essentially address the White House's request to investigate this fraud, fix it up, prove that it's actually going where it says it is, and not defrauding the American people, because that is clearly what is happening. So they're putting a pause on this because this will definitely put a fire under their ass. Be like, oh shit, our state really needs that money. I mean, personally, I'm like, you sure about that? But, some people need an incentive. And if you withhold cash from a state because of the fraud, your people in that state are not going to be looking at the administration. They're going to be looking at the governor. They're going to be looking at the mayor. They're going to be looking at that deputy governor that was seemed to be part of those WhatsApp chats during the whole ICE interference stuff. So I think that is a smart thing to do. Like, hey, if you're not, if it sounds like you guys are not spending this wisely, we're gonna hold this up until you can prove to us that you can. So I think that's really smart.
In Minnesota have actually already been paid. The state has paid those providers the money. What we're doing is we are stopping the federal payments that will go to the state government until the state government takes its obligations seriously to stop the fraud that's being perpetrated against the American taxpayer. There are a few different ways that we're doing that. There are a few different affirmative actions that we're taking today. Dr. Oz is going to talk about.
I'm just going to speed it up to 125 because it is a 36-minute long video. So we can kind of get there a little faster. Actually, let's do 130.
But let me talk a little bit about the spirit of this and why we're doing it. So number one of the examples of fraud that we've seen in Minnesota that we verified that is just awful is that a program that existed to ensure that autistic children had access to some after-school services has made a number of people rich, not by providing services to needy children, but by allowing fraudsters to take money that ought by right go to American citizens and to American families and to set up sham businesses, set up sham clients, set up people who are not even autistic but claim to be autistic in order that they benefit from the money that's out there. Now, what does that mean?
Now, as someone that does that has a history of working with the IDD or intellectual developmental disabilities, a lot of them are diagnosed with autism. I cannot tell you how many people are diagnosed with autism that clearly do not have autism. And this is outside of my work, but because of my work, I'm pretty good at identifying kind of the severity of this. Yes, a lot of people say, oh, it's a spectrum. It's like, yes, it is a spectrum. And in my personal experience and opinion, I don't think you're on it. That's what I will say about that. And I think a lot of you know the kind of people that I'm talking about.
Number one, it means that a lot of people are getting rich off the generosity of American taxpayers, but more fundamentally and more importantly than that, it means that there are kids in Minnesota who deserve these services, who need these services, and they're not going to those kids, they're going to fraudsters in Minneapolis. That is unacceptable, and that's the sort of thing that we're cutting off with this action today. Let me make one final point about the spirit of this. You know, one of the things I love about our country is that we're a generous country, we're a generous people. We take care of our fellow citizens who can't afford medical care because they're down on their luck. We take care of people who can't afford to put food on the table, even though they work hard and play by the rules. We recognize that we're all in this together, and part of the reason why we have Medicaid, or part of the reason why we have food stamps, part of the reason why we have these programs is we want to make sure that kids who grow up in families, not all that different from the family that I grew up in, that they have access to the basic necessities, food, medical care, after-school services when their family needs them, but they're unable to pay. What's happening in many...
I think that's absolutely right. The thing is, what I really love that he's coming in right now, because God, the amount of money from Social Security that gets spent on especially like really high cases of intellectual developmental disabilities, autism. Oh man, it you know, when you're working like at a nonprofit, it doesn't sound like a lot. Like it sounds like a lot of money for like that individual, but it is a lot. And think it's not just federal funds, it's state funds, it's county funds. Like there is a lot of different sources that you have to use in order to take care of just one person. Like remember, like I had a 2-on-1 individual, 2 staffers for one person, about 10 hours a day. That's 2 people making $18.50 an hour. And that is not including the rent that they pay for the house. It's not including insurance. It's not including taxes that come out of the stuff that they already have, it gets really expensive. That's not including my manager. It's not including all the other staff. It's not including all the other houses. Now, those funds usually get delegated very well, but when all that starts piling up, it becomes a lot of money. So we have a community of people that do rely on those funds, that do need it. Like they need those services like that, that I did. From many staffers, that many caring people around the world who also need to, who do this work and want to pay their bills. So when you hear about shit like this, $19 billion in funds in just Minnesota, and that's just the initial reports, someone like me gets pissed. Because I'm like, are you saying that we've been giving money that should go to my residents, my clients, all people like my clients, all across the United States, and they're not getting the funding, but this clear fraud is? What the fuck? In all honesty, I'm kind of shocked that a lot of my coworkers weren't as pissed as I was. Then again, a majority of my coworkers are, they're not super lefty like the ones that we kind of run into the online thing, but they're pretty lefty.
Minneapolis, in California, in a number of states all across our country, is that the generosity and the good hearts of our fellow Americans are being taken advantage of. We're taking that social contract that says that our American citizens, we take care of one another, and we're allowing a few bad actors to get rich off that generosity of spirit instead of providing the services to the kids who need it. This is disgraceful. It has happened for too long. Far too many people have gotten rich by taking what is the best of the American spirit and getting rich off of it instead of providing services to kids who need it. That is stopping today. We're taking a whole of government approach in the Trump administration to take this fraud seriously. What Mehmet Oz and his team at CMS have done is really remarkable, and it's just the first step of our efforts. So without further ado, let me turn it over to Mehmet to say a few words about what he's doing, what his team has uncovered, and what they're accomplishing with this new action. Dr. Oz.
Mr. Vice President, I appreciate the leadership on this. There's no question that his commitment, the Vice President's commitment to rooting out this fraud is going to make a massive difference in preserving and protecting our nation's public health programs. It's going to protect patients. I want to thank President Trump for pushing all of us to make sure we protect our most vulnerable Americans, the ones that JD mentioned, the ones he grew up with, the ones all of us know in our lives. It also protects taxpayers from attacks on our healthcare system. Secretary Kennedy has spearheaded these efforts, and thanks to his leadership, I'm proud to announce the largest fraud initiative, anti-fraud effort of its kind in CMS history. Now, why is this action necessary? Last night in the State of the Union address, the President spoke about the affordability issues that we have improved dramatically in this administration. But let's put some numbers on healthcare. The average family puts about $27,000 into healthcare a year. They only pay $7,000 themselves, which is a lot, but there's an extra $20,000 invested for them. This is not a reasonable amount of money to spend. We have got to bend that curve downwards. It's unpredictable.
And then all that money is just going elsewhere. Somalis with Lamborghinis. What the fuck? In all honesty, dude, like when it comes to like all these people that are defending like the Somalis right now, calling people like us, like Nick Shirley, racist, I'm like, you do understand Black Americans pay taxes too, right? You know, we're talking about a particular group of people who are not citizens that are taking advantage of our system, right? And it's clear as day. This is more of a regional issue, not a race issue. You fucking racists.
As well, when you have to make these expenses, and the fraud that we're experiencing in America is making this already dangerous problem much worse. So we're going to fix these issues. The president last night spoke about the need for price transparency. That's going to help by making people more aware of what they're paying. It's also going to help us at CMS figure out what you should be paying and identifying fraud. To that note, the president announced last night that he's appointing our vice president to lead the war on healthcare fraud, a wise choice. Your passion for this will make a huge difference. This is not about the money by itself. This is about people's lives and our culture, our shared values that have allowed these beautiful programs, Medicare and Medicaid, to survive brilliantly for 60 years. We believe, listen carefully, We are spending $300 billion a year in healthcare in this country for fraudulent, abusive, or wasteful purposes.
And only about 19 billion has been discovered off the bat. Thank you to Nick Shirley for looking into that for us and exposing all that. And that's just Minnesota. New York and California, baby. I cannot wait for that audit.
$300 billion. Let's put that in perspective. If we could reduce fraud by 5%, which is that $300 billion, we would take the trust fund that's going to take care of all of us as we get older, and we would allow it not to expire in 5 to 6 years. We would double its life expectancy. That's massively important if you're going to trust the social safety net to be there for you. You deserve that social safety net. It's there. It's created. We're not going to let fraudsters steal it from you. The Stellar CNS team, I want to call them out. Kim Brandt, who's videoing me over there, Dan Brillman, Capri Snap, Steph Carlton, have worked tirelessly to put this together. They've been rooting out criminals all year long. I know as well what it's like. I visited all these areas, personally witnessed what it's like to see something you know is wrong and wonder why no one tried to fix it. It's infuriating. The Vice President described very accurately exactly what you see on the ground. These self-serving scoundrels, that's what they are, who rob our...
Yeah. I'm black, and I've had folks try to shame me into agreeing with some dumb statements before that aren't rooted in truth. Laugh my ass off. You you listen to them and you say in your head, wow, right, dude? Man, yeah, Daryl, like, my brother. No, dude, like, you know what? I might just do a live video right here after we end this segment, but and the thing is, like, I started writing it, and it was in response to someone that who I actually respect, but they were more so about the political shots and that it was low-hanging fruit, all that. And they're also from Britain. So I was like, oh no, like, you really don't understand. That was kind of like the mindset that I had in. So I started writing this tweet, and then it became like 3 paragraphs long. You know what? I think I'll read it out a little later. But essentially, like, I'm a child in the 90s, right? Like, that's, when I went to grade school and the early 2000s. As a white kid, like, I cannot tell you that, like, it to all creeds and races and religions taught to us all the time. Don't be bigots. Don't be racist. Be a good person. If you see that shit, you call it out. And then something fucking happened. I remember it was like 2006. When I think it's, you could say when the internet was really starting to come together. And at some point, like, race started becoming an issue. Like, I remember saying, like, I was a theater kid, so I was hanging with all the liberals. I remember saying to someone, like, yeah, I mean, I know I'm straight, white, and male, and I'm, like, we're not the good guys most of the time. I said that. Like, what? And what was in my right mind? That I would say, just because of the color of my skin, that I'm some sort of bad guy, and that it's in my fucking blood to be that. And that I'm the good one. I'm fighting against it. That is some brainwashing fucking shit. And I'll tell you, it is just like we were talking about social contagions with the trans community. The whole thing. I just wanted to fit in. They put these insecurities into people so that we have invented racial enemies that aren't even there. It's fucking stupid. Oh yeah, I could say that there's a lot of external stuff. Yeah, the media definitely doesn't help. But, yeah. Fucking tired of this shit. But I'm hoping that things are going to turn around and people are going to wake the fuck up.
Federal and state health programs have decided it is worth the risk. I'm going to make a proposition to you. If you commit crime, on Medicare or Medicaid in America, and you steal, let's say, a couple $1 million, your jail sentence, first-time offender, maybe a year. For a lot of folks, that's a good deal. We have to take these crimes seriously and treat them as seriously as if they were bank robberies, because they're more dangerous than bank robberies. People get hurt during them. Let me share some of these horrible stories. The Vice President started highlighting autism. Let's get into the details of what's really going on in Minnesota. These are real cases from our group at CMS. These are adjudicated numbers. There's a fraud scheme in Minnesota where criminals, soon-to-be criminals, pay moms $1,000 roughly in order to enroll their children as being autistic, falsely, dishonestly claiming their children are autistic. They then bill Medicaid.
I wonder if they're Somali. I'm just wondering here.
This has already happened. Millions of dollars for services that were never rendered, never delivered by a qualified staff member. These schemes disproportionately involve immigrant communities. They're insulated. They're able to organize efforts, and sometimes they don't understand what's going on. And it ultimately diverts resources away from kids who truly have autism. Because if every kid in the neighborhood has autism, then nobody has autism in terms of how you can manage them.
Man, there was a time in the United States, like stuff like this, a lot of our society runs this way, where we just have an honor system. Yes, there's a few checks and balances there, but overall, there's a lot of honor systems. It's like, hey, you know what? We see your situation. Seems like you're telling the truth. Sounds like that you're a responsible adult. You know, go on your way. If you need a little bit of help, here you go. But when you have people from a country where their culture is don't trust anybody, take what you can get at all costs, well, that honor system doesn't work very well, does it? No, it does not.
There was one behavioral, and by the way, these kids, they carry that diagnosis of autism the rest of their lives.
Yep.
Their mom made a bad decision, the kid pays the price for the rest of their life. There's one behavioral health organization, Mr. Vice President, in Minnesota. They received $11.5 million in Medicaid payments, but the top biller submitted 450 days where they claimed they were working more than 24 hours a day. I mean, even in the White House, that's tough. It's hard to work more than 24 hours a day.
I've worked 24 hours a day. I have. Not every day. Once a week. 2 weeks in a row. I've done that. And the thing is, because we're humans, and we all get tired, and we share this experience, we know that it's impossible to work 24 hours a day for over 400 days. Because I know companies would like to hire that person. If it even existed.
How it didn't get picked up is shocking to us at CMS. There are other red flags in Minnesota, including hundreds of beneficiaries receiving treatment linked to one location, which was impossible physically to be true. We had 8 beneficiaries in one of these substance use disorder centers, 8 who were already dead, but the center was still billing us. Not only did they let the person pass, they kept...
Dead people aren't voting. Dead people aren't taking our benefits. And then you just look into it a little bit. Oh, it's happening. Oh, man. Man, what a time to be alive.
Billing for it. That's the level of average we're talking about. So CMS is done paying and chasing. We don't think jail sentences are the right way out. These criminals flee the country. Many are foreign nationals. Instead, we're launching the largest action against fraud that we've ever taken. The money's not going to ever leave the building again. We're going to start draining the swamp of the crooks that have inhabited it and are defrauding us. There are 3 bold actions. The first, and for many of you maybe the most important, is we're going to, for the first time, take a massive action to defer funds to a state. Let's start with this Medicaid program in Minnesota, which serves pregnant women. Medicaid takes care of our children. 53% of kids are born in the poverty. They're supported through Medicaid. Disadvantaged seniors, individual disabilities. It's unponderable that you would take advantage of these precious programs. Yet they're putting it at risk, all of it, by stealing the money. So it's our duty to preserve Medicaid, and what we're going to do...
They don't know they have the new nursing T1000. Well, that's probably right around the corner, Daryl, with all the advancements in robotics that we're seeing nowadays.
Is identified the scammers, which we have done in Minnesota. We've identified that they've hijacked, in particular, a certain part of the Minnesota Medicaid system. Said differently, and I'll just put the numbers out there, it's going to be $259 million of deferred payments for Medicaid to Minnesota, which we're announcing as I speak to Governor Walz and his team.
Oh, they're just getting that notice today. Well, at least for Tim Walz, man, I don't know, man. I want him arrested. This man pushed way too hard back on all this. I just personally think that he's part of it. That's just my opinion. But can you imagine the legacy that you're leaving behind is that you governed your state so badly that the federal government had to halt $250 million that would go to the most vulnerable of your community. You cooked.
And that's based on an audit of the last 3 months of 2025. Restated, $250 million is not going to be paid this month to Minnesota for its Medicaid claims. Now that's $250 million of money. That's your money. It's your taxpayer money. And these home and community-based services.
Wait, did he just say $250 million for the month? Hold on. Put the CC up.
25 restated. $250 million is part of the Minnesota Medicaid system. Said differently, and I'll just put the numbers out there, it's going to be $259 million of deferred payments for Medicaid to Minnesota, which we're announcing as I speak to Governor Walz and his team.
Holy shit. Hold on. Hold on. It's $3 billion a year. Better fix the fraud up, Minnesota.
That's based on an audit of the last 3 months of 2025. Restated, $250 million is not going to be paid this month to Minnesota for its Medicaid claims. Now that's $250 million of money. That's your money. It's your taxpayer money. And these home and community-based services, which again are services that are typically things you would do for your family, but for whatever reason your family's not there to provide them, are very hard to audit. And for that reason, there's been
And I think what he's saying about that is like, for example, the transportation services, like if you're going to the dentist or if you're going to, you need to take a trip to the hospital. I think like these kind of like minor like services that are in between is how they really got away with this shit. I think that's how they really got away with it. Just find like the very small sectors where the government, doesn't look too hard on, and they just kind of believe you. Man, I will say, at least to Somalis, pretty clever. Not gonna lie. Can't wait to punish you though.
a lot of slippage. The guardrails have not been well maintained, and if you're not serious about the integrity of the program, you'll see these problems happening in your state, which is why Minnesota's not alone, although they're the first to receive this action. These high-growth areas of fraud
that means it's going to be going to California.
So we require the states to take these issues seriously. This $250 million deferment is hopefully going to get on the radar screen for the state of Minnesota and make sure they are responsive to our requests. We did what any honest and patient-focused agency would do. We have notified the state and that we will give them the money, but we're going to hold it and only release it after they propose and act on a comprehensive corrective action plan to solve the problem. If Minnesota...
Okay, so essentially, it is money that is on hold for the month. So it is going to be given, but they need to do X, Y, and Z, make sure all this stuff is cleared up beforehand. I think it's going to take more than a month. I think this is going to move to 2 to 3 months. Because I can imagine Minnesota either dragging their heels on it because there's too many people that are comparable to the fraud that are in the Minnesotan government, or we're just going to see a ton of whistleblowers real quick. Or it's going to be like a mishmash of it all. That's my little prediction there.
fails to clean up the systems, the state will rack up $1 billion of deferred payments this year. Governor Walz has 60 days, sir, to respond to our letter. And if providers and beneficiaries are worried about getting their money in services, please call your governor. These are services the governor has already paid for. We are just not reimbursing the state. And to make it clear, there is a rainy day fund in Minnesota, so we are very confident that people will not be hurt in Minnesota. This is not a problem with the people of Minnesota. It's a problem with the leadership of Minnesota. And
not gonna lie, very smart. Like, you have your rainy day fund. We know that you have it, but it is not going to be reimbursed until you prove to us that you actually are doing decent shit with the money. Then the money's going where you say it's going. It has not going to these fucking fraudsters. Man, these guys, it took a few months, but man, they really kind of, they thought this through, which is nice to hear for once.
Other states who do not take Medicaid preservation seriously. Any delay in services is going to be, should be laid at the seat of Governor Walz. I believe he will take this seriously. They're not the only state that's floundering. We have more announcements from other states coming soon. Second big issue has to do with Medicare. So that was Medicaid in Minnesota, takes care of our most vulnerable populations. Medicare takes care of our seniors. Durable medical equipment. Most of you have not thought much about this category. These are the folks who they serve wheelchairs, canes, they sell knee braces, catheters, Foley catheters. Durable medical equipment suppliers, because they ship prostheses and these items, they're a great target for fraudsters. Here's what they do. They can steal the beneficiary number, and they never ship the product. They pretend to ship the product, but nothing ever gets sent out. So there's no cost of goods sold, there's no inventory, there's no payroll, no one works in the place, it's empty. But they generate millions of dollars of fake bills. There was a national...
So they're ordered, but they're not shipped. How is that not caught? Holy shit. Like, man, at least give it like a shipping number. So at least, you know, there's currency that had to be done. Because then at least UPS would pick up a random box. Holy crap, man.
DME fraud scheme that generated $1.1 billion recently in fraudulent orthotic brace orders. The beneficiaries whose numbers were stolen and used, they couldn't get those products. Imagine if you're on an insulin pump and someone steals your number and orders an insulin pump fictitiously, bills Medicare, and then you come and want to get this to deal with your diabetes. You don't get it. That actually happened.
I wonder how they were getting those numbers.
Patients, they don't know if their blood sugar's so high or so low that they might die. That's the risks that we're allowing by not taking this seriously. So today, issue number 2 is we're announcing a 6-month national moratorium blocking all new enrollments for durable medical equipment, prostheses, orthotics, supplies across the board. These crimes are becoming a major source of fraudulent activity. And I'll just mention, Mr. Vice President, South Florida. Do you ever go to McDonald's?
Yeah, too much.
We had rehearsed this. So there are twice as many durable medical equipment suppliers in South Florida.
Man, I keep thinking people are good. And then Daryl's like, sorry, quick reminder. there's more assholes than the ones that are on TV.
Than McDonald's.
Wow.
And that's not because Secretary Kennedy is closing down McDonald's. That's because the amount of fraud is so massive that it's easier to open one of these suppliers than open a bank account, which is why we're working with Secretary Bessent. And part of the reason for this moratorium is it gives us time to be able to deal with these issues that have become massive. And if we just shut down South Florida, they'd all flee to California and to Texas. So we have to shut the whole country down.
You know what I need to do? I need to just remind myself of the one friend who I'm just like now it's just built into my knowledge that he was just a con man and a really good smooth talker. I need to start saying con man so I can remind myself. It's like, oh, yeah, I have dealt with this before.
This unfortunate necessity is going to allow us to get on top of what we believe is billions of dollars of DME frauds. We've already stopped $1.5 billion of billing, but we need more time to shut down these bad guys. But it's going to be effective, and it's not going to touch the people who need these services. We have designed the system so that all the people who are already selling products can continue to sell products until we check them out. But no new DME enrollments, no ownership changes. All the things that fraudsters have done historically will be blocked.
All right, I was kind of worried about that.
Preserving access, but we're not allowing tax dollars to be stolen. Now, you may be asking, why is it so important to crush fraud to assure the affordability of our nation? I'll just give you one example that we just finished dealing with. The Vice President's aware of this. We had skin substitutes that were generating, we believe, this coming year, $23 billion in billing. Because we're able to shut that down to where...
Wait, what products?
Just finished dealing with. The Vice President's aware of this. We had skin substitutes that were generating...
Skin substitutes?
We believe this coming year, $23 billion in billing. Because we're able to shut that down to where it's supposed to be, because they have a role when used appropriately, every single senior in America, everyone, is going to get $132 extra money this year, just from that one thing that we shut down. That's the amount of money we're talking about, and it affects all of us. And to that note, because every one of you are affected, we want all of you to help us. So the third big announcement is we want to crush fraud by crowdsourcing ideas. We're issuing a request for information. We need and we want your help. The Vice President, myself, the President, Secretary Kennedy, all of us know that all of us are smarter than any one of us. So what can you do? We want your input on how to prevent, detect, and respond to fraud in government-funded healthcare. Whatever ideas you have, we're interested in. Our goal is to supercharge program integrity over the next 6 months.
Man, a full-blood American think tank. There you go.
So we put in a request. That means providers and suppliers and payers and technology companies, patient advocates, beneficiaries. If you see fraud, you let us know. A state Medicaid director can show us patterns of fraud that we're not aware of. A provider can help understand compliance burdens and how to deal with those more effectively. Patient advocate, get cracking on making sure that people are aware of fraud. And like we have done already this year by pulling in those kinds of ideas, we've stopped almost $6 billion from leaving the building. But that leaves a lot more out there that we can take advantage of.
That's still just a drop. That's still just a drop.
Issued is us asking you to help us build something better, to help the brave patriots out there who want to play a role. Call 1-800-HHS-TIPS if you see fraud, or just go to cms.gov/fraud. Those are simple, easy ways for you to help us address the problems the Vice President highlighted. God bless you all, Mr. Vice President.
Thank you. Great job. Very, very, very important initiative, and we'll take a few questions. I didn't expect you to put me on the spot with Bobby Kennedy about my fast food habits, but here we are. Sir in the front.
Two things, Mr. Vice President. First, can you talk about the legal authority under which the federal government pauses legally obligated funds under mandatory funding from Congress, such as Medicaid?
Hook these guys' mics up to the AV system. I swear to God. Can we do that, please?
And secondly, if you could tell us anything you know about the situation off the coast of Cuba, where there's a speedboat shot. We've been briefed on that. You know, if Americans were killed or injured in it.
Yeah, so on the second thing, actually, Marco briefed me about 15 minutes ago on it, but we don't know a whole lot of details, and so I'll defer to the White House to provide more updates as we get them. Certainly, you know, a situation that we're monitoring. Hopefully, it's not as bad as we fear it could be, but can't say more because I just don't know more. On the question of the legal authorities, I mean, inherent.
Well, the thing is, with the crowdsourcing, look, I think that there's going to be plenty of good Samaritans that are going to go out there and be like, I just want this shit to stop. I've been seeing it for years. I can't believe that, this hasn't been stopped. But in all honesty, I'm going to see a lot of people that would only do that with financial incentive. So I think it's really good that on one hand that they're not starting out with a financial incentive. They're just looking for good people, and that's how you want to start out. But I don't think we're going to get to the heart of it until, essentially, paying people to be snitches. I think at the very end of the day, that's going to be a requirement.
In Congress's assigning of the administration actually, we're the ones who spend this money. Congress appropriates it. We're the ones who actually make sure this goes to the people it ought to go to. And inherent in that is making sure that it only goes to the people that Congress says that it should go to. We shouldn't be sending money to fraudsters. We should not be sending money to companies that are committing mass fraud. We shouldn't be sending money to anybody that's trying to defraud the American taxpayer. So I know
exactly.
Oz and his team, he's got the best team, I think, in healthcare anywhere in the private or the public sector. It's one of the great things I love about working with Dr. Oz is he's brought great people along with him, and congratulations on this. But I feel quite confident we have the legal authority to do this. And again, I'd reiterate, we don't want to do this. Like, we don't want to be in a situation where the state of Minnesota is being so careless with federal tax dollars that we have to turn the screws on them a little bit so that they take this fraud seriously. You heard Dr. Oz say this. Tim Walz could call him, could call me, could call anybody in the administration, and we've given him 60 days to respond to this. All we need the governor and the administration in Minnesota to do is something quite simple, which is to show that before you give Medicaid funds to somebody, you're taking seriously whether they provided the services that they say that they're providing. And the fact that there are so many people handing out millions and billions of dollars of federal Medicaid money without even confirming that they're doing the thing that they say that they're doing, it's a disgrace. It's a defrauding of the American taxpayer, and we're stopping it.
Yep.
Caitlin.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. 2 questions. One, on the 60 days that Governor Walz has to respond, what exactly is the condition that he needs to meet for this funding to be released back to his state? I just wasn't really clear on that. And secondly, on Iran, while you're here, can you explain to the American people why the United States would need to strike Iran to stop them from getting a nuclear weapon if the United States obliterated their enrichment program last summer?
Well, I'm not going to make any news on Iran today, Caitlin. I'll let the president make those announcements.
I like how these reporters are being like, okay, we're going to talk about the fraud, talk about the fraud, talk about the fraud, and then be like, international stuff at the very end. They're trying. They're trying.
As you know, he is sending 2 of his best negotiators to Geneva tomorrow in order to continue to try to strike the best deal possible for the American people. But the principle is very simple. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. If they try to rebuild the nuclear weapon, that causes problems for us. And in fact, we've seen evidence that they have tried to do exactly that. So the president's sending those negotiators to try to address that problem. As the president has said repeatedly, he wants to address that problem diplomatically. But of course, the president has other options as well. On what we need to see from Governor Walz, I'll say something about that briefly.
Whatever you got to do, man.
Over to Dr. Oz. Look, it's actually pretty simple. What we want to see from the governor of Minnesota, from the entire administration there in Minnesota, is some affirmative steps to make sure that the people who are billing us for Medicaid services are actually providing those Medicaid services. The main source of fraud, whether it's a small business or a bigger company, is you have people who are billing the government millions, tens of millions, billions of dollars saying that they're providing a service, but there's no actual confirmation. There's no follow-up to ensure that they're actually providing those services. We want to see that follow-up from Minnesota. Dr. Oz, maybe you can speak to a little bit more about how exactly we want to see that.
Let me combine both these questions. So on December the 7th, we sent a letter to Governor Walz asking for a corrective action plan, which is a mechanism for us to extract from the state what they think they can do to fix the problems. The answer we got back at the end of the month, which is what the deadline was inadequate. We alerted them to this. We issued guidance that we were going to defer income based on an audit of last quarter's money. So we actually went dutifully through all of the bills that were sent to us. We found that of these high-risk services, roughly half of them, you really couldn't trust the data we were looking at. It's not that the numbers don't add up. The backup to the numbers is not there. So what do we need to have happen? We need to know that the providers actually are the real providers. Oftentimes, there's no person that you can associate with the treatment itself. We need you.
So essentially, they sent them numbers, but they didn't have anything to show that they could verify that the job was being done based on the money being spent. They essentially sent them their little black book and went, hey, here's the books. It's like, cool. But were these companies actually doing shit? And they're like, we didn't check. It's like, well, that's the whole fucking problem, dude.
After you adjudicate who these providers are, make sure they're not already in trouble for doing bad stuff, and then evaluate all the current providers to make sure they're supposed to be able to provide these services. And there's a whole slew of tools that we can use, including checking before you pay the bill that the bill is legitimate. That prepayment review is incredibly important. It's cumbersome. It's clunky. We wish we didn't have to do it. But I'm going to highlight something that the Vice President mentioned. These are services that we normally would not pay for. They're services we give to you because your family can't do them for you. If it's a hernia operation, there's a dozen people who have credentials, licensing. We can use a scar. But if your service is transporting you to the doctor's office and you can't tell me who actually drove the car and why they billed so much and did the patient even go to the doctor's office, then we have to do our job, which you would want us to do, which is to ask for some backup. And there wasn't any backup. So to echo, 60 days, that's the deadline. We expect to hear back. We've been following the rules.
Like, here's what I'm thinking. Like, so, for example, in regards to the House, with the guys with intellectual developmental disabilities, we would have a pharmacy. We'd have a designated pharmacy and they actually have their own driver. And every 15 days, which is part of, no, not every 15 days, every month, which is part of the cycle, unless, some cycles are a little off sometimes, which is more than fine, or we need a new medication, which happens every once in a while, not a lot, but every once in a while. Someone over there at the pharmacy, they send their driver with an order. That driver drops off those orders. When they drop off those orders, it says where it's going. And then someone like me goes, oh, thank you for drugs. Let me sign for it. Even that just little bit probably would have helped Minnesota out. Because then that person goes back to the pharmacy and says, hey, I gave this person the stuff that they have. And not only that, let's just say let's say the government says, oh, we don't trust that pharmacy. There's some shady shit going on. Well, thankfully, they can confirm where that driver was because there's GPS in that in that thing. So, even if it's lukewarm, it's still some sort of record. And if there's any discrepancies in that record, then you can do some actual deep dive investigation at. What I'm hearing here is that Minnesota didn't even try. That's what it sounds like to me. They didn't even try even a little bit. They're like, here's the books. So you just copy and pasted numbers moving around? That's it?
Meticulously to do this correctly, which is one of the reasons we're optimistic will be effective in Minnesota.
Great.
Mr. Vice President, I'm just wondering about this huge universe of fraud that you're talking about, $300 billion. How did you arrive at that number? What number is realizable in terms of savings? And you've mentioned California, you've said that you're going to move on to other states. Can you just give us a kind of snapshot of where you see that? And are all of the states that you're going after and where you see these problems ruled by Democratic? California and Minnesota are both Democratic-run states, so just give us a little bit of a preview.
Well, you said ruled by Democrats. We didn't use that word. You did. But here's what I'd say. $300 billion in the grand scheme of how much the federal government spends on healthcare services, it sounds like a ton of money. It's actually, the federal government spends well over $1 trillion in providing medical services to the American people. And based on what we've seen, based on the amount of services that we've seen that have been billed that are fraudulent, and also based on the fact that in a number of blue states, and this is true as far as I know only in blue states, where you have illegal aliens encouraged to get on the Medicaid program, we actually think $300 billion may be conservative. And we certainly, our ambition here is to get as much of that money back for the American taxpayer as possible. Again,
300 billion, that's being conservative. Just deport them. God, that would be so much faster. At least for Minnesota. I'm not sure what's going on in California yet, but I imagine, especially with the other reports that we're seeing in Seattle, I think about a month ago, I think we're going to see a very similar pattern.
And we're taking the social safety net. We're taking something that exists for the benefit of people who can't pay for medicine on their own. We want to help our fellow Americans. We can't do that if those programs are being defrauded by people who either shouldn't be here in the first place or have the legal right to be here but are committing criminal acts by defrauding these systems.
Can I clarify one number?
Go ahead, please.
Just on the numbers, the $300 billion is from the Kaiser Family Foundation assessment of estimated 5% fraud in all healthcare, not just federally funded healthcare. So it's 5% of the total, roughly $6 trillion. We spend almost close to $2 trillion, $1.8 trillion of federal monies. So the federal portion would be about $100 billion. And we believe much of that would be achievable. It's not fraud, it's fraud, waste, and abuse altogether. Sorry.
Yep. No, man.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you can go first, then you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Vice President. As you know, the Kurds have been loyal allies to the United States for decades. You're fighting dictatorship in Iraq. We're fighting terrorism in the region. And recently, President Masoud Barzani worked closely with the U.S. Special Envoy to Syria to help find a peaceful solution.
I cannot understand a word he's saying.
There. How do you see the future of the strategic relationship between the Kurdistan and the United States of America?
Well, look, let me be brief here because we're here to focus on the fact that way too many people are defrauding the American population. But, we have a great relationship with the Kurds. The president loves the Kurds. I know that the entire administration, we've had great contacts and great friendships with the people, the Kurdish people in various countries all over the world.
Oh, yeah,
and look, our attitude
that's
is we want those
unforgivable.
people to be able to live in peace and harmony and prosperity with their neighbors. We've pursued a foreign policy of peace in part because we want the Kurdish people, but also the Arab people who live there, the Jewish people who live there, the Christians. We want everybody to be able to live in peace. And that has been the main focus of our policy in Syria. It's been the main focus of our policy really all over the world. Ma'am? Yeah. No, let's, thank you.
How do you intend to make sure that the consequences of ending these fraud programs in Minnesota don't impact the people who are enrolled in Medicaid?
He already said that.
And at a bigger picture, how do you think that the polls show that Democrats historically have the advantage on healthcare? Do you think that these efforts on fraud might change that for Republicans?
I'm not really worried about the politics. I'm worried about the justice of it all. I think it's offensive that American taxpayers pay into these programs and they are defrauded. And I think in some ways, more significantly than that, it's really sad that American children who need these services aren't able to get them because it's going to fraudsters instead of somebody else. So here's what I think. I mean, look, we're certainly going to make sure that our anti-fraud efforts go after the fraudsters and not after anybody who actually benefits from these services. But I actually think the question is a little off in a way, because the problem is not going after the fraud. The problem is the fact that these programs are being defrauded to begin with. They will not exist. Our social safety net will disappear unless we take fraud more seriously. So what I'm most worried about is that unless we preserve these programs for the next generation, they're going to disappear and all the money is going to go to fraudsters. Go ahead.
All right. There's a portion of the question, like, even though he answered it, I would have liked a little bit more, which is, what if Minnesota, doesn't come out with their plan or their actual numbers or some sort of way to fix the situation down there, like what's going to happen after the 60 days. So that is something that I'm very, yes, I did see your intro for Smash JT stream yesterday. Yeah. I mean, Empress's yesterday on Smash's stream. Yes, I did.
So what exactly would that look?
So essentially, all these are questions. They're addressing a lot of different things, but looks like we're not going to get into everything, but I am going to kind of, before I send you guys over to Smash JT, and he's going to be starting in, well, his intro starts in like 6 minutes. I'm going to show you guys what I've been working on. I kind of have to start from scratch here. So tomorrow at 11 a.m., I'm going to be doing a torture stream. Here's what I'm going to be doing. This is the Chrome extension I built called Dono Trigger. And it does something, fairly simple, but you just don't see it every day. So I'm just going to, you guys won't be able to see this portion as I pull it up, but give me a second. Okay. So this is the ending credits for Assassin's Creed Shadows. Let me almost a year ago, Starring Craig put out the 2-hour version. I believe that was on the PS5. This is the PC version, which is 3 hours and 30 minutes long. Let me show you what this does. So I can set it up. So how about I go 5 seconds, if I can type. And I put for every $1, it rewinds for 5 seconds. All right. It's connected through Streamlabs and Rumble's API. So I'm getting all the data from them and not directly from YouTube, because YouTube is weird about their API, like ridiculously so, that getting it from Streamlabs is the only way I could do it. And it also gains Streamlabs also is connected to Twitch and to Kick, so I'm connected that way. Oh, it gets kind of cooler. It does. It shows donation overlays. I'll show you guys here in a sec. It's gonna make sense a little bit more. Also translates currencies into USD. You can actually, for once, have keep track of like a lot of it's kind of weird that in regards to like Streamlabs and Stream Elements and a lot of other things, they never combine the total amount between memberships and actual donations. I'll show you that in a sec. But I also have engagement rewards. So if anyone tomorrow does subscribe or follow on one of the platforms, they get, let's just say, 2 seconds every time they subscribe or they follow on Rumble, Twitch, or Kick. I know, if they made it mandatory. I also connected Gifts and Go. I'm going to be connecting Smash JT's defense fund so that if you donate through there, if you want to help him out with his lawsuit, it'll rewind the thing for me. And remember, this happens automatically. Loop mode. I'm going to take off the safety stuff. So maximum cooldown, you don't have to worry about that. But just in case, 3 hours. I don't need the ticker at the moment. Fast forward rewind thing, I'll explain that a little later. So essentially, this is what it does. Oh, and here's the countdown. So 3 hours, 30 minutes, and 24 seconds. And I'll go ahead, pop out the stats. Also, afterwards, it tells you what the split is after YouTube, Twitch, and Rumble, and all them take their piece of the pie. But I'm going to go to Streamlabs, and I'm going to go to a different window that you guys can't see. But Streamlabs has its own testing alert system. So if I press play, and you guys should be able to hear that. And then I do a test Kick subscription. It automatically rewinds. Now, what's very interesting is that it went past... actually, I don't believe I saved the profile. There we go. So it was at 1 minute. Now it's down to its 5 seconds. But what happens is if it goes past 0, it starts a loop. And it does the math. So that means I'm at a whole other loop. And when this loop ends... So let me fast forward. Then we're down to loop 0. Now I can also do Streamlabs. I can do YouTube members. Twitch. And it converts bits and kicks into dollars. So if I do bits, that's 1 cent. That's 1 bit. That's 10,000 bits. Oh, and there's a subscriber, $0. It's a new Kick follower, new Twitch follower. Oh, I'll turn it down. But that's not the only thing it does. So as you can see, it keeps track of everything here. Total donations, the net, total rewind time, how many new follows, how many new gifted members and subs, the total donation count. And that it's not the only thing that it does. So I'm gonna hold on. Gotta get rid of some tabs. Ah, damn. Okay, hold on, guys. Just give me a second. This thing is a powerhouse, so it takes up a lot of the stuff. So the more so when I do this tomorrow, there's not going to be as many tabs. There we go. Much better. 2 more. So the other thing this does, let me bring back. You dare me to do an Alyssa stream? I would have to make like one big collage, and during a lawsuit, I don't think it's a wise thing to do. A test for something to come for the future? Yeah, tomorrow. Like tomorrow I'm actually doing the live stream. I'm doing this like tomorrow. But I also did a so I'll just quickly just ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. Let's just say Batman, Goku. And I go for Goku. And let me get the image address. So Goku, there he is. And Batman. Batman. Images. There we go. And let's use this photo. There we go. Save. Manual. Appearance. Transparent, smooth. Okay, that looks good. And then we go to live control. And I'm actually going to turn it to Battle Arena. And dollars percentages. I'm going to start the poll. And there's the live. Oh, you guys can't see it. Hold on. I got to add it in. Oh, I can do this. Right here. There you go. So then it looks like this. So it's going to look a little confusing because I'm going to be doing the test in real time. But essentially, I can do a test vote. Goku, $5. Bob, if I send the vote. Then you'll see $5 appear Goku right here. And then up here, you'll see $5 right there. Pretty cool, huh? I think it's pretty cool. But yeah, I made this. I also made a giveaway tool. So yeah, so it does donation polls. So let's just say that it's kind of like Hypnotic's waifu battles. So if I really wanted to, if one of you donated right now, don't do that. That's just a demonstration. So right now, you could actually put I love Goku in your super chat, and it'll automatically actually add it to the poll. That's what it would do. And it doesn't matter if you're on YouTube, Twitch, or Rumble. Kick doesn't have anything like YouTube super chats or cheers yet. But like I said before, this also has a giveaway tool. And I could just do a quick test. So Goku is the keyword. So very similar to what Smash does and Hypnotic through StreamYards. Hold on. I've been reading the chat. I've just been explaining. So just give me a sec with my presentation. You can change the theme. We'll keep to here. My favorite one is this one. So let's just say we're doing a giveaway tool, and you can actually do this right now. Just type in Goku. Everyone type in Goku. Right now. Oh, sorry, not right now. Hold on. It's Goku. There we go. All right, everyone type Goku. So I'll even add myself, Goku. Oh shit, I forgot to put the source. Crap, I forgot to put the source. Sorry guys, give me 1 second. I forgot to put the source. One second. Not yet. Majority of you are on YouTube, so just give me 1 second. Sorry, I didn't set up beforehand. So just give me a sec. It's a little different. The setup is a little different for this. So, okay, there we go. All right. Ready, set, go. Just type in Goku. Oh, there's an entry. And then I'll type in Goku. Maybe it'll enter me. Yep. Got 3 entries. 7 entries. See, it works. And look, see, it's gathering all the stuff. And even if you if I know there's not that many of you, and I know I just switched it. Doesn't matter. It's fine. And then we go stop. Draw winner. Some random white guy. Some random white guy 7 is the winner. Yeah, I made my own giveaway tool. And there's a lot more too. Let's see. This is we'll re-roll Pac-Man. So it chooses via Pac-Man. And oh, Proctophile. He's the new one. We can re-roll. And now a laser chooses. What's another cool one? Which one's this? Oh, the slot machine. It's not the best one, but yeah, so just a typical slot machine. Oh, finally, I can win. No, sorry, it's already done. Let's see. I can also do test ones too, so we don't have to rely on. So you can see actually the extent of it. Like what here's I think this is the battle arena. So watch this. This is the test version. And I could turn on Matrix version as it gets all the stuff. And then that's the battle arena one. Let's see here. I forget what this one is. So yeah, it collects them all in different ways so you can visualize it. Oh, it does this one that's more like StreamYards. Chill vibes only. Oh, and here's the bracket tournament. So it chooses, it pins you against each other and then chooses a winner. Then we got, this is the raindrop one. It really doesn't do a lot. Yeah, that's the spotlight, which you really can't see very well. What's this one? Oh yeah, the train one, which is kind of strange. I don't know why it does that. And then there's a bubble one. Oh yeah, and there's different themes. Oh shit. Maybe +3 to compensate for lag. Oh, this was kind of a cool one. But yeah, there's different themes. Yeah, and kind of the other thing it does. Yeah. And here's the bar. So if I do a donation, if I do a test donation, it'll automatically. Oh, crap. That's the only thing about this that's kind of annoying. I really need to. Okay, save. Is that for some reason? Like, I have to go in, save. Yep, super chat. There you go. $57. Subscription. Streamlabs. So then it does that. And it even has different tiers. So that if Smash really wanted to, so watch this. When tier 1 is done, it's like this. But there's another way. Hold on. This one, it goes tier by tier. So that means the one tier takes over the other one. So if I really just started going hot. Forgot to save settings. It's really touchy on that for some reason. Yep, there it goes. And then okay, why are you being weird? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. I don't know why it does that. Okay, something I need to fix, but that's fine. But yeah, see how, makes a sound every time you hit a tier, and then it just goes forward and onward. I don't know why I have to go here so we can check. It's something I'll fix probably right now. But yeah, that's all the cool stuff it does. There's also, this one actually just stays on your browser. So if you're having issues with overlays and stuff like that, you can just have it on your browser. There's also a pop out in case you don't have issues. Oh, I think that's why. I think I figured out the issue here. Oh, come here. I don't know why it's being so stingy. There we go. Let's see here. Super chat. There it goes. Easy peasy. Anyway, with that being said, I will send you guys over to Smash JT. And remember that you are somebody, I am nobody. And I hope you have a fantastic evening. Hopefully, I'll see you in my stream tomorrow. I highly doubt it's going to be successful because I'll just be staring at the ending credit scenes for Assassin's Creed Shadows for at least, 3.5 hours. I thought that this was going to last for days, but I don't think it will. But with that being said, have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.